Welcome in, everyone. We are officially live for yet again another She Speaks Sneakers episode. I am so excited for today because we've got a special guest with me and Mons, Olivia SWL. I'm going to be bringing both of them in here momentarily. For those of you who are not currently subscribed to the channel, be sure to do that right now. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy these lives. Today is a special one, though, because the three of us are going to be going through our top 10 sneakers of 2023. Hopefully all of you had the most amazing Christmas yesterday. I can't believe how fast this year has flown by. I just started She Speaks Sneakers recently to help amplify other women's voices in this space. So this has been a very, very special live channel, and I'm so excited to bring another female on board. I don't think I've honestly seen a top 10 sneakers done by different female perspectives from different parts of the world. So Mons is based in San Diego. I'm based here in New York. Olivia is based out of the UK, holding it down over there. So this is going to be one of the coolest top 10 videos I feel like you are all going to see, just because I feel like demographically it tends to change depending upon where you live in deciding that whole decision as to what are your top 10 sneakers, just because sometimes when I travel to warmer places, I typically will switch up my pairs that I want to wear. And so this is going to be a really, really cool top 10 today. What's good, everybody who's jumping in here? Space Magic Storm. We got Johnny and Piglet in the house. Happy holidays to all of you. And once again, I'm so appreciative for all of your support. Definitely go and support these two ladies as well. They are definitely some up and coming future big time YouTubers in the sneaker space. And of course, women need as much support as we possibly can get out there, just because it is a very male dominated space. And we just love chatting about sneakers. So without further ado, everyone, let's give a round of applause for my guest, Olivia, and my co-host, Mons. Hey,
Hey.
ladies.
Hello, hello.
Welcome on board. Mons, of course, we're always happy to have you. But Olivia, I would love for you to introduce yourself to the Shade community. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, firstly, thank you guys so much for having me on the show. I'm a huge, huge fan of both of you. So I'm a sneaker content. I started out a couple of years ago, so I've got lots of YouTube videos on sneaker reviews, all different types of kind of sneakers. Is my main kind of platform, and yeah, I love it, absolutely love it. And I'm so excited to get the opportunity as well to, have all women top 10 sneakers of 2023.
Mhm.
As Marissa said, we haven't seen one yet, so hopefully this will be the best one.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, we're so happy to have you, Olivia. I love the way that you style your sneakers, for one. I think you have such a unique, different perspective on how you like to style things every single time you're doing unboxings with sneakers. But also, I think it's incredible that you're also attending school, right? And doing this as well,
Mhm.
which is insane to me. I don't know where you find the time. Just like Mons, I know you have a
Yeah.
full-time job. So it's pretty incredible and inspiring to see women who, are really able to fit time into creating content around sneakers. So kudos to you for managing
Mhm.
all this. All
Thank
right,
you. Yeah, it's a
everyone.
lot.
It is a lot. I know. I don't know how
Mhm.
you find time, but you are definitely consistent, and that's one of the things I feel like as a content creator is really
Mhm.
hard in general to be.
Mhm. Yeah, no, absolutely.
And
Yay, welcome.
Mons, of course. Welcome in, Mons. What's been going on in your life on the
Hello.
West Coast?
It has been good, very busy with the holidays. I'm sure everyone here as well has, been busy. And at least for me, I have had a lot of, I guess, gatherings with friends and family. So it's been a really great time just making more core memories and just closing out the year really strong. And spending it with people that I love. So it's been great. And of course, I am so honored, of course, to be here with the both of you to talk about our top 10 sneakers because this is something that I always look forward to at the end of the year. I'm always very curious as to what um, other people have to say about what makes their top 10. And especially since we have a full female panel today, I'm really, really excited to be going through it. So, yeah, it's been
Yay.
good.
I'm
Yeah.
excited too. I feel like this is my most unique top 10 that I've had in the past couple of years because,
Mhm.
as you have probably experienced, both of you, it has been kind of, I feel like, a strange sneaker release year than we've had in the
Yeah.
past since COVID.
Mhm.
We've had a lot more sneakers as well to kind of be able
Yes.
to cop. So it's definitely, I feel like, changed, and I'll be interested to see like
Mhm.
even 2024 because I feel like
Mhm.
even kind of the sneak peeks that we've seen from Jordan Brand are kind of
Right.
interesting. But I'm excited. So,
Okay,
without
cool.
further ado, everyone, I think we're going to get started, starting, of course, with our top 10. Olivia, since you are the guest, we'll let you go first. What is
Mm-hmm.
your top 10 of
Lovely.
2023?
So this was a bit of a weird one because I feel like this is a dunk, it's an SB dunk, and I feel like in the most kind of recent years, I have a bondage with dunks, but at the same time, I'm getting a little bit tired of all the kind of color. They've just released so
Right.
many. I feel like it's a bit overpopulated, and I feel like
Definitely.
every single person is on the kind of dunk hype, especially since the Panda dunks.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I still had to put some on my list because I still have some kind of attachment towards them. Because I do just think that they're a great silhouette, and they're just so clean. So I put on my 10th, I put the Nike SB Dunk, the April skateboard colorway,
Ah,
um, that was
Nice.
Mons.
released. Yeah, I was really debating whether it was going to make the top 10, but I am in love with like a 3D kind of dunk and
Mhm.
an SB dunk as well. I feel like really was a really good silhouette this year. So not just a normal dunk, an SB dunk.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, and the colours is like that turbo kind of green colour. I thought the colourway was absolutely clean, and I'm in love with kind of the metallic swoosh as well.
Mhm.
Um,
Mons, do you have
so
yours
yeah,
right by you?
I
I don't have
do.
mine to show.
Give
Let's
me one
show
moment. I might have to find it
everyone.
in my pile, but I think it would be fun to show it on camera
Yeah,
as
because I'm
well.
like looking at my pile too, because I want to show this dunk so everybody can kind
Yeah,
of
all
see
my
it.
green ones are together, so give me a moment as I try and find these
yeah.
sneakers.
Unfortunately, just for everyone watching, I'm not at my normal home setup, so I
No
don't have any of
worries.
my shoes with. I think I
No,
brought like two here,
no
which
worries.
yeah, so I don't
We're
have
happy
all
to
of my
have you
shoes to
on
show you. But
anyways.
these guys can do the modeling.
Mons and I were actually talking about this dunk recently, and just the
Mhm.
quality, I really think that they killed it. And
Yeah,
especially for like a winter kind of tone, I feel like it was the perfect release date as well as we were getting into
Mhm.
colder seasons. And it kind of had
Mhm.
this almost holiday effect with the platinum kind of silver detailing.
Yeah. Mhm.
yeah, exactly. I absolutely love the detailing on it, and that's what kind of stands out to some of the rest of the releases this year.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
definitely killed it on the SB. And SBs, of course, I just feel like are always a bit more comfortable than your, regular
Yeah.
dunk you're going to get as far as quality.
Just
Even I feel like Nike by You, it was the first time I ever
Mhm.
made a dunk from them. And it was like literally on another level. I'm like, I don't even want to buy dunks
Yeah.
anymore unless I make them
Yeah.
because the
Yeah,
quality is so much better. And it
that's true.
almost looked like a staple pigeon dunk, but it's the closest I'm gonna get since that shoe is going for like $100,000, I think, or something insane right now.
I don't even want to look into the
Crazy.
numbers for that one.
I know, right? Shout out to Piglet. You just gifted 5 memberships. Piglet, really appreciate your support. You are always just an incredible support of the channel. And I just got this is the one I created this year, my Nike
Oh
by
Oh,
You.
wow.
But do
cute.
you
That is
see the
Nice. I did
leather
want
on
to
nice.
see
this?
it. Like,
I love the
there's some.
orange.
Yeah, I know. I love the colors that you chose.
Highly recommend if you haven't done like any of the Nike
Mhm.
by You stuff yet. Like
Yeah,
literally, it's insane how
yeah,
good the materials are on this sneaker. I wish I could
yes.
go back and recreate honestly some of my cheaper dunks that I have with this leather.
That's true. I feel like I always get stressed out with Nike by You sometimes though, because there's just so many options. So I feel
So
like I
many.
always
Yeah.
have to have a specific vision in mind when I go into it, or I'm just gonna lose myself and then get frustrated. So I'm glad that they have been adding a lot more options when it comes to the Nike by Yous, which makes it more fun. And then I love the little embroidery that you can add on the back as well. So I did do that on one
Yeah,
of the Nike by Yous
Yeah,
that
that's
they
so nice, that bit.
so nice. But yeah, this material is just
It's good. It's really good.
knocking it out of the park. Yeah. All right, Mons, what is your top 10
Right. So I believe I talked about
or
this
number
pair
10?
like in the past. It came out earlier this year, and I am a big fan of the Dornbecker collaboration with Nike. So I thought it was only right that I brought out this one as my number 10. So it's going to be this pair right here.
Oh,
It is the
that
DB Vomero.
colorway is so good.
Yes.
It
And
is
that was an
so good.
afterthought for people too. We definitely have to talk about how when this originally released, it sat.
Yeah.
No one went
No,
crazy over it.
that's why. And I will admit that I did get this on a restock. I did not get it on actual release date. So I honestly it wasn't the top of my list as well, but I feel like as I saw more photos of them, I just fell in love with them. And as you both know, a lot of people have been really veering towards more comfortable sneakers lately. And I feel like sometimes Nike kind of doesn't have that many options for it. So the fact that the Vomeros have really had a resurgence this year has, like made it very exciting. And the fact that they released something like this is so beautiful. And of course, the fact that you can get some additional accessories on here. I think I still have the patches here in the box since I have it. But yeah, I think they're just such a fun shoe, and it really reflects, the child that was the one who designed it. And then I believe it's Jared here.
Can you believe a
So
child designed that? It still like gets me
Wow.
every time I get a
yeah,
Dornbecker. I'm like, wait, how old is this kid?
I'm like, "Oh, how come I can't be this creative?" I don't know.
Like, let me get
But
my crayon box out and
I know, right?
I
It's
can't even
like,
draw a sneaker with crayons, but I would try.
fun. And of course, like, we can't go wrong with the additional accessories. You can take these patches, put them on
Love
the sneaker.
that.
So I think in addition to the already vibrant colors it comes with, I think the fact that you're able to customize them even further makes it chef's kiss, beautiful pair. So I had to put this, as my number 10.
I love it.
Love them. I need to add them on my list.
Definitely.
Yes.
If
See,
you have not,
how I
so
love them? I think
mine
you need
is going to be a Vomero as well for number 10.
Ah.
So just a different one. This is a bit more sentimental though, because I was able to work with
Mhm.
Nike and a boutique here in New York called Two Minds. And what's crazy is I modeled for Two Minds
Mhm.
as like just a past kind of job. And, fast forward 2 years later, they became a Nike account and
Mhm.
asked me to come on board and actually style this for the sneakers app.
Mhm.
And this was the first time ever I tried the Vomero 5. So this is a
Mhm.
totally like brand new concept. And it's one of
Mhm.
the few Nike silhouettes actually that's separated by gender. So they've got men and women based upon
Right.
your foot. So like the tech and everything built into the sneaker itself is actually created based on, women's feet and men's feet. Though I do
Yeah.
have, like the Dornbecker is of course one I'd be like, whatever, I don't care. But this
Yeah.
was the Photon Dust. And I
Mhm.
would say out of all the sneakers I've worn this year, this has probably been one of the most consistent sneakers I've gotten compliments on.
That's true.
And
Mhm.
right, like it's very simple, but it has
Mhm.
almost like this very futuristic look to it. It's so
Mhm.
dirty, everyone. I don't even know if this is like
Um,
the same color it was when I first got them because I have worn them so much this year. But this is
Yeah.
just like, I don't know. There's something about this sneaker with the decoupled heel that you have. Yeah, these are so disgusting. Sorry, everybody. But it's such a great supportive sneaker.
Mhm.
It's
Yep.
cushiony, but it
Mhm.
also has really good support. So it's like one of those sneakers I feel like if you're a New Yorker and you have to walk a lot.
Mhm.
I don't know if you walk a ton, Olivia. But in New York, like that's all I do, and I need a good like sneaker that, my feet aren't gonna die in as I'm trying to like chase the
Mhm.
subways out here.
Hey,
But
that's important.
yeah, so that's my top 10. For those of you who are jumping in here, we've got
Mhm.
Olivia SCWL in here as well as Mons. We're going through our top 10. We are only
Mhm.
on number 10, so you didn't jump in late if you're just jumping in here now. About to move into number 9, but it looks like Mons and I
Mhm.
are on the Vomero trend. I know that I think Complex may have mentioned actually this one on their
Mhm.
list, and I feel like a lot of people were hating on this. And I will say, as far as like Nike giving us specifically new sneakers, you don't actually like for me personally, I don't find that I
Mhm.
really want to pick up a brand new Nike silhouette and that I
Right.
end up falling in love with. So I will
Yeah.
say for a brand new like silhouette this year, they
Mhm.
really knocked it out of the park cuz this
Mhm.
is, definitely a performance-based sneaker, but it's
Yeah.
such a great lifestyle shoe as well.
So good. Yeah, you can't go wrong with it. And that's actually one of the colorways that I wanted this year. And I feel like when I keep looking at them on the secondary market, it's just so difficult to get now with how
It
popular they are.
is. It
I will
is.
add it, to my collection at some point, but I'm happy to see it on your top 10 list. So it's great.
I've got the Barbie color. I've got it. I've got it actually. I think I have 10 pairs this year, ladies.
Yeah.
It's an addiction now. I have
Oh
it in
wow.
every single shade.
Okay.
But this
No,
was like the baby, the first one that I ever got. So definitely
yeah.
sentimental. All
Mhm.
right,
Yeah.
moving on to number 9. Olivia, what is your number 9 for 2023?
Do you know what? Kind of on the Vomero kind of vibe. I think one of my most worn sneakers this year has definitely got to be like the lifestyle running kind of silhouettes. I found that I've
Yes.
Mhm.
been buying like so many more of them than the kind of typical other silhouettes. So my number 9 is actually from Asics. It's the Gel 14 Kayano.
Yeah.
Um, so it's kind of very similar to the Vomero.
Mhm.
It's more of like a running shoe, and I've got the cream and the black colorway, which is absolutely beautiful.
Mhm.
And it's kind of just comfort that I find that you can kind of wear them with anything. And they're just so comfortable. So I just find myself, whatever I'm doing, just putting those
Mhm.
on instead of kind of what I'd usually go for is maybe like Jordans, like a Jordan 4 or something like that. I've kind of
Hmm.
gone more to the kind of running shoes. I think that was a real kind of trend this year, and maybe possibly for next year is the kind of,
Mhm.
like 2000 kind of looking running shoes. Um, I actually only recently picked them up, and they're something I think that probably I'm going to wear a lot next year as well. They'll probably be one of my most worn sneakers for next year. But yeah, absolutely love them, and it's good to see another brand as well make kind of, well, in my opinion, my top 10. Because
Mhm.
usually it's literally Nike and Adidas. That's another thing that's probably really different. I always get
I
this in
love
my
how you say
comments
Nike
how I
too, Olivia.
pronounce.
Nike.
Yeah,
It's
do you
I
know
was
what? I
hearing
know I
I'm
know the
going for it.
proper I know the proper pronunciation is Nike and Adidas, but in England that is
Mhm.
literally that's what I've grown up with. So, but I
Yeah,
always
I
get
love
drawn
it.
out in my comments saying, "Why are you saying that?"
No, it's cute. I love
I try
it.
to say it, but I know it's wrong. But it's just like, everyone here, that's what they say. So if I started saying it the other way, people would start like drawing me out here. But
No.
yeah,
Well, when I went to Australia, though, it's the
Mhm.
same thing out there. Like, they have these cute terms where it's like brekkie, or they'll be like Macca's. I'm like, McDonald's? They're like, oh, you mean you're going to Macca's? And I was like, what is that? But
Yeah,
it's always fun culturally to hear how everybody pronounces
it's so
different
yeah.
fun.
things. I'm
Yeah.
sure as
Mhm.
Americans, we probably, like, I think we actually say Adidas wrong, right? Because
I
it's
think we
not
do
it's
say it
not
really
I don't
well.
pronounced
know.
like
I don't
that.
know if
I
it's
think
Yeah, like,
it's how you pronounce it.
yeah, I agree. I think we say
Adidas.
it.
So
Yeah.
Yeah,
you've
Adidas.
got Nike different.
Yeah.
We have Adidas wrong. But
There's
Asics
so
is
many. I think
having Asics is definitely
there's another
having
one. Yeah.
Mhm.
Adidasla. Yeah, that is, I guess, the correct way to say
Mhm.
it. So I guess we all have our own terminology, but Asics, I guess, is Asics, and they're having a
Mhm.
moment this year. I think
Yeah.
that Asics is
Yeah.
knocking it
Yeah.
out of the park. I've honestly always owned Asics. It's been one
Mhm.
of those road to recovery sneakers where my PT is like, Marissa, do you want to walk
Mhm.
when you're 80? And I'm like, yeah, but like, what do I have to
Yeah.
wear? And they're like, here you have it, New
Actually.
Balance or Asics. And I'm like, ew,
Mhm.
I don't want to wear those. But then,
Mhm.
you start seeing there's like these really cool colorways and different
Mhm.
silhouettes. And
Yeah.
specifically for like my phone, sorry, my phone is going off. Nah, don't know who's calling me today. But anyways, Asics is definitely, I feel like, always been in my top 5 for comfort and just like for my
Mhm.
narrow feet. I feel like Asics just has it down, especially for women. I just think that they
Yeah.
understand the woman's foot and make and
Yeah.
build of it. And as far as like, I don't know if you have ever been, both of you, if you've been to like running stores where they kind of like test your feet
Mhm.
out and then they tell
Yeah.
you kind of
Yeah.
like if you underpronate or overpronate, and then they like
Right.
go in depth and like match you for the perfect type of sneaker that works specifically
Yes.
like for your foot. Asics has always been like the sneaker that I've been matched up with.
It's meant to be.
Wow.
That's
I
all.
know it's meant
I
to
definitely
be.
want to do one of
Exactly.
those though. I always walk into Roadrunner Sports and they always offer that. And I'm like, you know what? One of these days I will do that just to see if it'll make a difference from my own choices. So
Somebody's
I'll get
like
back to you.
Haley Bieber wore them so she can make anything take off. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah. It's exciting actually to see, like Haley Bieber and Gigi Hadid and Bella Hadid and all these
Yeah.
girls though rocking sneakers. I mean, it's one of those
Yeah.
things
Mhm.
where it's really transitioning and showcasing that, we can wear sneakers with dresses and skirts and things like that. It doesn't necessarily
Exactly.
need to be your typical sweatpants and athleisure
Mhm.
wear, which
Mhm.
is really exciting for us because it supports our theory that women deserve to have a seat, at the table and
Mhm.
being able to discuss
Yeah.
these type of topics. But
Yep.
Mons, what is your number nine?
All right, my number
Great
nine.
pick,
So for
Olivia.
me, I'm gonna turn back because my sneakers are behind me, and I'm gonna just grab them. So for my number nine, it is going to be a New Balance, and it is going to be this pair right here. So this is the
Concepts.
Concepts New Balance 998. So this is going to be the 10th anniversary, and I just love this pair. This is actually my first 998, so I thought it would be appropriate for me to, and especially since it's the 10th anniversary, I thought it would be appropriate for me to share it with you all today. But I know that I haven't seen this pair a lot around circulating around, but I don't know, I just love it, and I love the inspiration behind it. And my colors are more on the neutral side, so I love the fact that they were able to incorporate the inspiration into the sneaker itself and be able to give this very beautiful looking shoe. So it's going to come in at number 9. But
I
yeah.
love that. Yeah, I don't have
Yeah.
a lot of 998s. New
I
Balance just
don't. Yeah.
has so
Hmm.
many silhouettes sometimes, so it's always nice when they do these collabs because it gives us the
Hmm.
opportunity to jump into a pair where you're like, wow, I've
Yeah.
never heard this number before. When did they
Yeah,
release
no,
these?
exactly. This I
Yeah.
was like, I'm not sure if I like it, but I'm gonna go for it just to see because I always go if I see photos and I'm not really into it, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna go for it because I may like it when I actually get it in hand. And I feel like this happens to be one of those sneakers. And of course, since they're New Balance, can't go wrong with the comfort. And I mean, I wouldn't say that the 998s are like my favorite silhouette necessarily, but I think I just love the way that they executed this pair.
Yeah,
And
that's a really cool color blocking. Like
yeah,
I always see these colors
most
together thinking like, wow, I never would have thought that those colors would have worked, but definitely a
yeah,
good neutral
they look
pay.
so different in hand compared to the photos that I saw. And that's why I was pleasantly surprised with the way that they were able to pull this all together, especially with all the colors. So, but oh, here, my camera. But
Nice. I always
yeah,
find with New Balances, like they always look better in hand or on feet compared
Yeah.
to
yeah,
photos. I think all the New
I,
Balances I have, they look so much better on feet.
I
yes, no, I agree with you. And yeah, when that, like I said, when I saw them, I was like, I don't know. But yeah, I'm so, so happy that I was able to pick these up. So it's going to come in at number 9. But after
What do
that,
you got on your nails, Mons? You have cute
oh,
nails
thank
today
you.
too.
A quick nail. I did
Oh,
these like last week, so forgive me if there's already some
no,
grow out,
they're so
but
cute
yeah.
still.
Ah.
Story of our lives.
Thank you.
Girl problems.
I know, girl
Nails.
problems, right? Marissa,
All
what do you
right.
have for your number 9?
So my number nine is going to be. This is actually,
Ah.
people have been saying that industry plant, you get all your sneakers seated. Just so everybody knows, I was only seated one pair in my top 10. And this was one of the pairs I was seated by Jay Tips. I've known Jay since I started my channel. Actually, I think I met him
Mhm,
at my very first sneaker con in Texas.
mhm, mhm,
And I even met him at a couple complex cons. He's really
mhm,
been holding it down for the community
mhm.
for such a long time. And it's just crazy how invested he's been in all of his projects when it comes to like Hat Club collabs that he's done to now, of course, his first sneaker collab. But
Right.
he's really put in the work and the effort. And
Mhm.
Saucony hasn't really been at the top of my radar. I've seen like a lot of collabs they've
Yeah.
done that are they're very cool because they're
Yeah.
very unique and different, but they're very hard to get as well.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
I think Jay just did his thing with these. Like, I wasn't sure how much I was going to
Mhm.
wear
Yeah.
these, but honestly, this year, I think this has been like one of my most outlandish looking sneakers that people stop and
Mhm.
stare at and are like, whoa, what are you wearing? And I've worn these on red carpets at this point. It's just like such a
Mhm.
fun, quirky looking sneaker, of course,
Yes.
comfortable.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just the colors really work and it's
Mhm.
different. I don't have anything in my sneaker collection, I feel like, with this
Yeah.
color combination, but he really took all these different quirky patterns and put it into one, even like with the checkered print, with the floral print. Like I never would have thought to bring those two
Put it
patterns
right?
together, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even, you can see on the Saucony logo there, that's
Mhm.
actually pony hair in the zebra
Yeah.
print.
Wow.
And then just his sayings as well, it's all about how people didn't believe in him and didn't support him from the
Mhm.
beginning. And, he was basically talking to himself about being like a flower that grew out of cement.
Mhm.
And I think
Yeah.
that concept and that story is just
Yeah.
very uplifting. And, I think for us, again, as women in this community, it's very hard for us to kind of, I think, get through that cement and that grounding to even have a little sprout to grow. But
Yeah.
as long as, you just keep pushing and going after what it is that you want to do in life, you'll eventually achieve that. And this is just a shout out, I feel like, to all of those
Mhm.
supporters and followers who have been there since day one for
Mhm.
him.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
No, for
As he says a lot, remember who fronted. That's what he's got. That's like his kind of saying.
Yeah. No, I love all the details on that pair. And I feel like I knew you were going to put that in your top 10 sneaker list. So I'm happy to see it.
Yeah, I've worn it so much. And I always feel like at the start of the year, I know what's going to be in my top 10. And then I end up not wearing it. And then something pops
Right.
up and it's like, oh, this is actually going to make my top 10. I love
Yeah,
this
this is
one
the
way
one.
more. Right.
Mhm. Yeah,
All right,
for sure.
Olivia, what is your number 8?
My number 8 is actually the Jordan 3, the J Balvin collaboration. I
Yes,
thought
we
that
didn't
one,
even have
that
that
one is
around.
so
Oh, I have it
so
right here.
clean.
Mine has a Funko Pop in it
The
right
Jordan,
now,
yeah.
but we're just gonna
Oh, they're just so beautiful.
we're gonna bring it out.
Just the color compared with the kind of sunset detail at the back
Mhm.
is just, you've got that kind of vibrance, and then you've just got kind of a clean, simple kind of Jordan 3.
Mhm.
The Jordan 1 I really liked actually, but I thought it's
Mhm.
kind of a bit of a hate it, love it kind of
Mhm.
Jordan. But I think it was nice that you kind of saw it and you, like, sneakerheads would know exactly what that shoe was. The
Right.
Jordan 2 I wasn't a fan of. I think it was a little bit too simple. It kind of didn't look the same as this one and the Jordan 1.
I only
It
get
was a lot more
complimented that
plain.
in that sneaker, Olivia, at night, because that's when you can really like turn the lights on it. People are looking over you like, "Whoa, how are you doing that?" But definitely a very, very
Yeah.
simple
Mhm.
sneaker
Yes. Mhm.
in
Yeah,
comparison.
I just feel like
Yeah.
it's very different. I think it's the color and the that sunset kind of accents.
Definitely
But
an
I just
easier color to
absolutely love it.
style.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. I feel like you just can't go wrong.
Mhm.
And the Jordan 3 silhouette is not actually one of my favorite silhouettes. I kind of usually go for like more like Jordan 4s. I don't think here in England a lot of people wear a lot of Jordan 3s.
Oh,
It's
okay.
definitely kind of one of the underrated silhouettes. So I think I've just always kind of grown up with other silhouettes. So the Jordan 3 is not usually my first pick, but I absolutely love the color blocking on
Mhm.
that one. So yeah,
Jordan
Yeah.
that
wise
made my number
in
8.
England, then what's like the main Jordans would you
Yeah,
say you see most on foot
fours
out
and
there?
one. Fours
Okay.
Fours are completely, yeah, they obliterate
Fourth.
everything. Jordan
Okay,
1s as well
interesting.
are really popular, but Jordan 4s, like the resale, I've been into some resale shops, and some of you like the black and white colorway and the like the thunder colorway, all of them just resell for so much money. It's
The
absolutely crazy. It's just,
thunder.
yeah, it's
So
a
the
really, really
bright,
popular
bright
silhouette.
yellow.
The yellow, yeah.
Yeah. I've
Yeah,
seen a couple
yeah.
people wearing those. I would say it's
Mhm.
crazy though how different, again, demographically it is what people like.
Mhm.
Because I feel
Yeah.
like out here, I see a ton of people actually in 11s.
Mhm.
I see a lot of 12s.
Mhm.
I feel like we get in the higher Jordan number out here. Though you're gonna get
Yeah.
people who wear 1s, 2s, 3s, and
Right.
4s, but yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
definitely a lot of warmer silhouettes are worn, I feel like out here for
Mhm.
sure as we get into the
Yeah, I
winter.
think that's the right word for it. I feel like there's a bit more aggressive silhouettes here
Hmm.
in England. Because I think Jordan 11s and 12s, I barely ever see anyone wearing them.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's more like kind of below, yeah, like you said, the lower silhouettes, like the 4s and the
Mhm.
1s. I think
Hmm.
there's a really popular rapper, I can't remember who he is, and he's got a song, and he's like Jordan 4s and Jordan 1s, and that's literally
Oh,
that's all everyone knows.
That's hilarious. And even in San Diego, Mons, because it's warm out
Mhm.
there. So, like for me, I'd rather
Yeah,
wear, I feel like low tops out there even because I don't want
Yeah.
to like sweat to death in high
that's
tops.
honestly my mentality. Like a lot of the time I have so many high tops, right? And like honestly, I feel like I always gravitate towards my low top sneakers because it's mostly warm throughout the year. And but I will say that I feel like I'm seeing now, at least between San Diego, I'm in Orange County, LA pretty often. And I would say that there's a really great variety. And what I mean by that is that there's a lot of people just expanding outside of just the normal like Jordan 1s or like Jordan
Hmm.
Forest, for example, or just anything popular, I guess you would say, like definitely seeing a lot of Solomons. And, I see a lot of Hokas actually. I see
I
so many Hokas.
see, I don't know how
And
Hokas are out in England yet, Olivia, but Hokas right now, that is every
yeah,
girl after
No.
yoga, gonna grab coffee, gonna go
yep,
grab
mhm,
brunch. That is
yep,
like the staple
yeah, that is
sneaker.
It's the next new
the
thing.
sneaker.
Or
Yeah,
maybe we'll see them in next year over here.
yeah.
Quite
So
possibly. But
yeah.
Mon, so what is your number 8 for
For number 8,
2023?
now the sneaker that I'm sharing is definitely you hate it or you love it. And I feel like there was definitely no in between it. And it is this pair right here. And you know me, I love this pair so, so
Uh,
much. And I think it, like I said, it's definitely you love it or you hate it. I think because
Hmm.
it is a new silhouette. It's the Airfleet 2, CPFM collaboration with Nike. And I think I've talked about this in the past. I think they just do a really great job of pushing the boundaries when it comes to just sneaker design and just putting out something so different. And I think from the look of it, it looks uncomfortable, but looks can be certainly deceiving. And I would say
Hmm.
it's probably one of my more comfortable pairs, I will say. And I think it's just very, well, I wouldn't say it's wearable, but I think that, that there's a lot you can do with it. I think you can kind of experiment with different looks and just kind of put together something new and something fresh. And I love the fact that they kind of have these little widgets that you can snap on and off. It does come with some additional accessories. And compared to the other color it came with, I prefer the green colorway. Just kind of there's a little bit more contrast with the sneaker itself. But yeah, I don't know. I just love this pair.
You'll be
I know some
surprised
people
on where
like
that landed on my list, Mons. I think everybody will be shocked where that landed on my list. So, yeah.
yeah. I mean, I love it. I love this pair, and I think I'm just very excited to see more from the brand because if this is kind of like the direction that we're seeing, I think we're always going to be very excited to see what comes next. So had to
Hmm.
put this on there, and yeah, I love it. So this is the one.
Great pick.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. Let me just go to
All
my
right.
wall.
Moving on to number 8. Oh, here we go.
So my number 8 is gonna have to be the Tiffany. So I've never honestly been a huge Air Force One girl. I'm not gonna
Mhm,
lie. Like I know that like all my girlfriends were wearing the white pair when that
mhm,
was like before the
mhm.
panda. This was like the sneaker every single person on the streets owned.
Yeah.
But there was just something about the quality of this sneaker. I know a lot of people talk trash about it. They can't believe the price point. But when you
Mhm,
break it down and you go into a Tiffany store and you see the
mhm.
pricing of how much a little trinket will
Mhm.
cost you, it's insane.
Yeah.
And you're getting, those pieces on an
Right.
actual sneaker. I don't even know.
Mhm.
It's so
Yeah.
shiny if you guys can see that. But I
Yep. I can see.
mean,
Yeah. It's focusing.
it's
Yeah.
just incredible that not only
Mhm.
are you able to adapt and have these cornerstone pieces that you would
Mhm.
specifically buy separate from a shoe
Right.
included on the sneaker, but the quality, the color, for those of you who know, like the Pantone color that Tiffany purchased, I mean, it's
Mhm.
patented. I didn't even know you could patent
Right.
colors. But
I
you're,
I had no idea,
isn't that
but I mean that's
insane?
just the signature. Yeah.
Yeah, so they actually Pantone created this specific color for Tiffany. And they
Mhm.
went as far as to legally patent this specific tone. So you're never going to
Mhm.
find this shade of like
That's
tealish
crazy.
blue anywhere else. And if
Mhm.
you do, they're
Right.
probably in court getting sued by Tiffany and Co. But I just think, coming together and stepping outside of the box and seeing how
Mhm.
Tiffany has, I think, recaptured a younger demographic as well. Because I think that
Mhm.
Tiffany in the past has kind of skewed a little bit on the older side of things. But then all of a sudden
Yeah.
you're seeing Jay-Z and Beyonce doing campaigns for Tiffany.
Right.
um, I think that it's just really, cool. I think we lost Olivia there for a
Mhm.
second. Her camera may have
Oh yeah.
died. Oh, there you are.
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
It's okay. And then of course, you've got the additional Tiffany blue laces. I know a lot of sneakers as well in the past have been kind of called like the Tiffany, dunk or Tiffany
yeah,
this, but this is
right.
exciting because we're finally for the first time ever getting something that's actually a collab between Tiffany and Co. and
Yeah.
Nike. But
Mhm.
I think they did a solid job. I'm still bummed
Mhm.
I wasn't able to get the lace
Oh,
toggle for the top,
oh,
the Dubray. It sold out
yes.
everywhere. It was one of those afterthoughts again, like with anything sneakers, you can't second guess yourself.
There's no
You just have to
afterthoughts.
go. Yeah. And then
Can't.
going into every
Yeah.
Tiffany asking for this, they looked at me like I was some crazy person. So I just gave up.
Hey, at least you tried, right? You know?
Exactly.
That's
Well,
so
and
nice.
I have the Supreme
Yeah.
Tiffany collab as well, so I wanted to
Right.
like match
Yeah.
this perfectly.
Oh,
Okay.
Um,
nice.
but yeah, that's my number 8. Moving on to
That is
7,
that's a
Olivia.
stunning shoe. 7. So I've got another like lifestyle running shoe because I just can't get enough of them. So I've got the New Balance 1906R, the Amy Leon Dior collaboration. So you've got the kind of the green, her kind of signature color, and then you've also got the kind of white creamy color as well. Again, I think the colorway for me is what pretty much
Yeah.
sold it to me. But I
Mm-hmm.
also really, really like New Balance 1906R silhouette.
Mm.
It's kind of been one of the kind of recent silhouettes, I guess, that I've really been into. Again, it's just so comfortable and I absolutely love the
Mhm.
way it looks. And I feel like kind of like what you said earlier with these kind of running lifestyle shoes, um, like you
This is
can
the
really
one,
like dress them
right?
up and
I
dress
don't
them
know if this is
down.
the
Yeah,
color.
that's it.
Okay, this is
Yeah,
it,
Those
yeah,
everyone.
yeah. I think
I
that's the
love it.
color. Yeah. It's just so clean. It's just such a clean colorway. I absolutely
Mhm.
love the green. Yeah, and you can kind of dress them up and dress them down. Like you could wear like a dress with it, or you could go really casual with it and wear like a tracksuit or whatever. I think it's just a really, really versatile shoe.
Mhm.
And yeah, they come in so many colorways now, but
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I especially like this collaboration just because of the colorway.
And the
Yeah.
N is really cool as well because it's got that
Mhm.
threading. If you can see the lace threads through
Mhm.
Yeah,
the N lock
Mhm.
system.
yeah,
Mhm.
But it also has a nice vintage vibe to it, which I was
Mhm.
really drawn to. I just kind of love
yeah,
the gum bottom that they gave this. And
Mhm.
this is
exactly.
not a
Yeah,
very common color that you see on a midsole either. So
Right.
I think
Mhm.
very good collaboration.
exactly. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I
Definitely a very
agree.
comfortable silhouette as well. If you haven't tried the
Mhm.
1906, it's
Yeah.
definitely like
Yeah.
in my top 10 New Balances. I know the numbers can get confusing for some. It's not
Right.
just you, it's everyone. But once you find, I feel like the silhouettes you love, you'll never forget the
Mhm.
number of them. It's just kind of
Right.
ingrained into your feet where you're like, I'm wearing a
Yeah,
1906
so
right
true.
now.
Yeah, for sure. I'll have to get myself a
Yeah, I
pair
just
because
love with
what I don't have.
yeah.
So yeah.
They have so many colorways. It's absolutely crazy, and like even in different materials as well with the 1906R. So I just
Right.
yeah, like anyone can find a pair that they like.
Mhm.
There's just so much
Yeah.
choice.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%. I
True.
honestly had a hard time. I had to get rid of some of them because I bought too many colors and realized, like, what am I doing? As a city girl, Olivia, I tell Mons this all the time. I just like, I really don't have room, but I'll just, for another perspective on material. So this was like the
Mhm.
protection pack one. It actually,
Mhm.
like, if I have these side by side, this doesn't even honestly look like the same shoe.
Right.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
crazy is that?
Mm.
I
No,
mean,
it's
I wear
crazy how
this one
you
all the time.
materials. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
don't get too many, I feel like good looking black New Balances. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had to
Mhm.
snag this
Yeah.
pair when I had the opportunity just because it's very rare
Mhm.
that you see New Balance dropping a darker,
Mhm.
deeper tone like this. And
Yeah.
of course, it's got that really cool protection pack aesthetic to it
Mhm.
where,
Yeah.
it's a little bit more rugged, worn
Mhm.
down.
Yeah. No, definitely. And I've always been, excuse me, a big fan of the protection pack. So I think I love the fact that they've incorporated that style into that sneaker for sure. But yeah.
Hmm. For
Me
those of you who
too.
are
Yeah, the
just jumping
protection
in,
packs.
we are on number 7. Olivia just went with the 19. Just bring that actually out. The
Yeah.
1906R. So we're just moseying along. We're not even in our top 5
Mhm.
yet. So if you're just hopping on
Almost there.
board, welcome
We're very
in.
close.
We're having a good time. But yeah, Mons, we'll start with you now
All
and
right,
hop into your top seven.
number 7. So this is probably my final pickup of the year. And I mean, I have to add in the reverse scrunches into the mix. Um, it didn't necessarily break my top 5, but I thought it was appropriate for me to put it in my top 10 because we haven't seen this colorway yet, and I love the fact that they decided to do a reverse scrunch colorway. And every time I think of the holidays, I always think of the Kobe 6 scrunches, and the fact that we were able to get kind of just its partner in crime, if you will, is just so stunning. And I don't know. I just love them. And the fact that I was able, so I actually did get them in a men's size versus a kid size, thankfully. So I think the fit is a little bit better for me. I would say they still are a little on the like silver side since I do need to break them in a little bit. But yeah, I do. I had to bring it in. I know it's a little, like more on the hype side of things, but I just had to have them, and of course, had to add it to the list. So yeah.
I
And for
love the
anyone, I don't
Kobe's.
think who's wondering, I don't. I just have to give a little disclaimer. I just collect and I love wearing them, and yeah, they're just fun. So.
As a volleyball player, Mons, though, how
Yeah,
crazy
that's
would it
true.
have
I do
been to
want
have had
to
these as a
well,
volleyball sneaker? I feel like my game would have been so much better. I actually watched the NCAA championships, and one of the teams, I'm so jealous, they were all wearing whatever sneakers they wanted, and some of them had Kobe's on, and I was just like, oh my gosh, if I could have played in
so
these,
nice.
my game
Yeah,
would have been in another level.
yeah,
But I think overall, just that Protro is like
mhm,
one of the best
yeah.
just performance based
I
sneakers
agree.
for the court out there.
Mhm.
And the colors, of course, you can't complain about a reverse Grinch. I know they were
Can't
leaked
complain.
early.
Yeah, yeah.
We
So
were all just
I
holding
hear.
our breath, like when are these actually going to drop, or are they going to
No,
drop?
that's fine. I wasn't sure if they were even going to drop, but when they finally announced, the official release date, I was like, oh yes, definitely going for these. But yeah, so yeah, there's
Nice.
that.
Cal,
What's
you
what I
sound like
think
tired.
for like in the UK, I feel like these are not. I feel like this is a very American shoe. When I first
Uh-huh.
saw them, like for me, the colors are very, very bold. It's not something I'd go for. But then I started looking at some reviews, and I thought, oh, they look so comfortable and they're so
Yeah,
nice. But it's always when I was researching it, it was just like a load of
yeah,
American, like content creators. So it's crazy how
yeah,
different it is because I feel
Mm.
like in
yeah.
UK, a lot of people would look at them and be like, absolutely no way. But yeah, it's cool that
Yeah.
we've all got like
Different
different
perspectives.
like
Yeah.
styles, I
That
guess,
is
isn't it?
crazy
Yeah,
that people in the
exactly.
UK aren't huge on
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Very interesting.
So
Do you
Yeah.
play indoor sports too, Olivia? Did you play basketball or
No,
volleyball or
I never. Oh, well, when I was really young, I played kind of sports, but now I just kind of go to the gym, so I kind of just wear kind of more sports shoes to the gym.
right. Mhm.
But I wear a lot of like if I had those shoes, I would just style them and wear them out like on
yeah, just
a
like a
normal day
lifestyle
kind of thing. I
sneaker.
wouldn't. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
I've
No,
yeah.
already
but
That's
they're
seen
cool.
people doing both pairs where they have the Grinch and the reverse
I
Grinch
have
on
that.
foot to stunt,
Very fun. Yeah, no, it's very fun.
But I
All
guess it's a
right,
very
here
American
number
thing.
7.
Oh yeah, I need to like look at my list here and see like
Oh yeah,
where.
I know.
Sorry,
This is
everybody.
gonna
I
be.
like lost where I was. Oh yeah. So I couldn't really choose, so I'm just gonna go with the whole pack.
Mhm.
But the
Yeah.
Powerpuff pack is definitely on my list. I have not
Yeah.
done bubbles yet. I've done
I have to blossom.
Buttercup
Just
and Blossom, but
Oh, I love
this
those. The pink pair is
definitely
so nice.
was very
it's so good.
exciting for me. I just yeah, this is I think they nailed it with this one, especially with the materials
Mhm.
that they use. It's
Yeah.
pretty
Mhm.
crazy how different they were with each character as well. And
Mhm.
if you're a fan of the Powerpuff Girls and you know each character very well, I mean, they
Yeah.
really just nailed it. And it just has all of their different quirks intricately
Yes.
placed throughout. It's almost like you're playing a mystery box game where you're trying to find,
Yeah.
different clues and things like that.
Yeah.
Even the sugar and spice and everything nice concept was like
Yeah.
really cool to see behind the tongue.
Right.
But again, like literally use different materials. Like you can even see on these two variations that they're not the same material.
Right. Yeah.
Um, and even that cute little heart leather piece that they have on the lace there, that's
Probably one of
Blossom's
my
little
favorite.
hair piece, right? That you
Yeah.
see there.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
really just, cool concept. I know a lot of guys in my first video I put out were kind of upset because I said that, when I grew up, it was mainly girls in my community that watched Powerpuff Girls. So
Mhm.
not saying that guys don't watch Powerpuff Girls.
Right.
Just a disclosure, but when I was growing up, we had like a small little crew of girls who were
Uh-huh.
like, "Yeah, who do you want to be today?" And that was like our thing
Yeah.
that we did. But I
Yeah.
also do think that Nike SB took it in a different direction. This was the first time
Mhm.
ever that I ever saw three female skateboarders actually talking
Mhm.
about the sneakers and
Yeah.
how, expression wise, it related to each of them differently.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so I do think that the Nike SB team is trying to kind of target a different audience. And I feel like this was kind
Right.
of a good, safe bet for them to do that,
I think
where
so.
it
Mhm.
wasn't kind of just like segregating men, but at the
Mhm.
same time, it's adding a different mixture of women who
Mhm.
also love Nike SBs. Of course,
Mhm.
people are like, well, can you do a kickflip? You can't wear those. But at the end of the day, I don't know how
Uh,
you all feel about this, but
mhm.
it's like everybody wears basketball sneakers too. And a lot of
Right.
people that wear basketball sneakers don't necessarily play
Yeah.
basketball in them,
Right.
nor is
Exactly.
anyone
Mhm.
really playing in an Air Jordan 1 right now,
That's
It's
true.
it's
Yeah.
one of those concepts
Yeah.
where people just love the look and feel of a sneaker, and I feel like they have every right to be able to wear that if they want.
I think so. Yeah, no, I completely
Of
agree with you. And
course.
I mean, if you like it, who's to say that you can't have something just because you don't participate in that sport or, anything
Mhm.
like that. So, I mean, if you like it, just go for it. I think that's at the end of the day, you're the one spending the money and you're the one that's going to be wearing it. So, yeah, just
Exactly. I don't know how it is in the UK, Olivia,
mhm,
but the
mhm,
skateboarding community, I feel like in the States is very hardcore and
mhm,
very gatekeeper when it comes to specific silhouettes and sneakers. And that's why they're very hard to get out here. You have to get them at a skate shop, typically,
yeah,
which is an
mhm,
orange tiered store.
mhm,
You're really limited as far as like online pickups, except if it's
mhm,
on the sneakers app.
mhm.
So they're pretty much more uncommon to see people rocking, and that's because you can typically only get them from skate shops.
Right, right.
Oh wow. Yeah, it's a bit
Mm-hmm.
different here. I don't think the skateboarding scene's probably as big as
Mm,
it is in America, but I think they typically, obviously as well as SB Dunks, like Vans are really popular here.
Mm-hmm.
mhm,
Like Vans and
mhm.
Converse and things like that. So I don't think there's as much gatekeeping
I
here,
see.
fortunately for us, than it is probably over there. Which is, I guess, good for everyone else.
Very interesting. I mean, they went as far as I think some of the skate shops were actually having people destroy their boxes after they
I did
purchased
see
it.
that. That was very interesting. I was like, oh,
I just am not a believer in that. I'm sorry. Like I
No.
get that you're trying to stop resellers from coming in the
right,
stores and
Yeah.
getting
right.
it, but sometimes like as a creator when you're packaging things, I feel like the box is very like essential to the pairing
I think
of that
so.
sneaker. And
100%.
I
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
think that it's kind of a disgrace and a
Mhm,
disservice to that person.
mhm.
And
Yeah.
also, like, you spent this money into creating a box
Yeah.
and giving a person a
Right?
box, and you don't want to be
Exactly.
wasteful, right? And here
Yeah.
you
Mhm.
are, like, basically destroying something.
Right.
So,
Yeah. I think, yeah, when
can
you're
fully see
paying
that.
for a shoe, I expect, like, I love like boxes as well when they're a bit different and a bit special.
Mhm.
And I think the
Yeah.
whole part of the kind of experience of buying a sneaker is to have
Right.
the box as well. So I feel like you're
Mm-hmm.
paying for that. So why should you not?
Exactly.
Why
And
should you
you're
not
going to
have it? You're
make
basically, yeah,
somebody destroy it. I don't know if things like that happen in
yeah.
the UK, but out here, we like to keep people on their toes, apparently,
Yeah.
and,
You never know what
do
we're gonna
crazy
see.
things.
There
I
was
think,
this shoe place in London, and they did competitions, so they did like limited edition shoes, and they started taking away the boxes, so they just give you the pair of shoes because they were
Mm.
basically scared of resellers, and I think that lasted maybe one or two pickups, and then they got rid of it because
mm,
everyone complained, which I feel
Right.
like it's just so unfair. Like
Yeah.
also it's just a waste of time destroying a box. Like, what
Right.
purpose is that going to serve?
yeah,
Obviously, we know why they're
exactly.
doing it, but it's just wasteful as well. Like,
Mhm.
it's just
Yeah.
totally
Yeah,
unnecessary.
it's
Yeah.
really. even I know that they did one as well where somebody had to do a kickflip after out here. I think a store made you do a kickflip in order to be able to get a pair of sneakers. You had to land it, and I think you only had like two opportunities to do that.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
even know like really good skateboarders, that I grew up, that it would take them maybe five times in order to land a kickflip,
Mhm.
which is pretty
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
But I do think, yeah, the skateboarding community is just super protective over the
yeah.
sneakers that get
Mhm.
released out here.
Right.
Definitely culturally, probably a little bit crazier than in the UK. But
Yeah,
yeah, I guess they get to set the standards and the rules since they're the ones, I guess, doing the release. But
right.
we're also a bit more fortunate because I know you've got a couple skateboard shops right near you, Mons.
I do, yes. I feel like a lot of the skateboarding shops that have been opening up in my area, they've been releasing some of these. So that's how I was able to acquire
Mm-hmm.
some of my pairs as well. So yeah, it's great to see that at least like they're also getting that opportunity to be able to provide that to their community, but even just more
Mm-hmm.
so like collectors like myself have that same opportunity. So it's good.
Exactly. So like out here, Olivia, it's a little bit easier if you're, in
Mhm.
a state, I guess, that has skate shops. So like for
Mhm.
me, I'm close to New Jersey and there's so many more, skate shops in both Jersey and New York. So we can enter raffles and things like that. Even I won a raffle for these and I still had to wait
Mhm.
like an hour just to pick up the raffle win. That's how
Right.
crazy hardcore people are about getting their SB dunks out
Yeah.
here. But
Mhm.
I do feel
Wow.
for people who are kind of like in the Midwest states, just
Mhm.
because they don't have access to skate shops,
Mhm.
or maybe there's only one skate shop in the entire state, so you've got every single
Right.
person entering that
Mhm.
raffle, making it a little bit more difficult and more limited to be able to
Mhm.
have access to it.
Yeah. No, for sure.
All right, what are we on? Number
Being
6.
sick.
Yep.
Yeah, number
Oh, yeah,
six.
sick.
Olivia.
Yeah, we are on sick.
All right, Olivia,
Twins
what's your
everything
number
on this.
6?
So, my next pair I don't actually have, as in I don't actually own, but I absolutely love this pair. So it's the Adidas Gazelle Indoor, the Sean Weatherspoon collab,
Oh
in the
yeah.
hemp green
Oh,
colorway.
okay.
They I absolutely love the design of Sean Weatherspoon. I think he's probably one of my favorite collabs.
This
And
was
Mhm.
one of my gifts for
the
Christmas, actually.
So cute. So cute.
I mean, it's not the same. It is, wow, I can't even hold this correctly, but
Yeah.
yeah. But I think
nearly
is
there.
this the one you're talking about? Or
No,
no, this isn't
no.
the gut.
Let
You're
me.
Different
not talking
color.
about the gazelle.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm gonna be able. Where's the camera?
Okay.
This pair.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
one.
That
Okay.
one is so
Yeah.
good. I
Yeah,
love that hair as well.
that pair. Yeah,
Mhm.
that the I didn't. Well, here in England, the kind of gazelles, campus, sambas have been a huge, very really popular
Mhm.
shoes this year. I feel like even though the silhouettes have come out like ages ago, I feel like this
Mm-hmm.
year it really fits into that kind of Y2K chunky kind of vibe.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Campus is probably one of my most worn silhouettes as well. I find them so
Mhm.
comfy and I absolutely love the chunkiness of them. They're
Yeah.
quite kind of simple silhouettes, but I feel like
Mhm.
they just kind of work with everything. But
Mhm.
that gazelle in particular, I feel like it's got a very unique design that kind of,
Mm-hmm.
will make
Yeah.
people kind of turn your head around.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
kind of love a unique design. So that one, yeah,
Mhm.
it's definitely on my list to get. It's right
Mhm.
on the top of there. But yeah, looking
Yeah.
forward to getting those.
This
I know
is
you're gonna get them,
definitely a
so
very.
I'm looking forward to your video on
Oh
them
yeah,
when you.
we need to get Mons
Yeah.
in some of these
You're
silhouettes.
gonna get them,
Actually,
so
I
I'm
keep
excited.
saying this because this is very much more of a European style, and I know that
Yeah,
Adidas has really been
definitely.
working hard on
Mhm.
bringing kind of more Euro fashion to the
Mhm.
states, and you are actually seeing like I've seen a ton of women rocking
Mhm.
these more Euro fashion based like sambas and gazelles
Yeah,
have been a huge
Right.
push. And you know
Yeah.
this
yeah.
because as soon as you walk into an Adidas store and the only thing you see on the shelves are certain
Mhm.
silhouettes, you get what
Yeah.
they're pushing that year. Because people always
Right.
ask me, like, how do you know? I'm like, well, all you have to do, honestly, is walk into a store and see what's
Yeah.
like front and center. You'll know
Right.
exactly what the brand is really backing and pushing. And
Mhm.
this year, like, I feel like last year was more forum heavy. So you were seeing probably like a ton of
Yeah.
Adidas forums being
Yes,
released
actually, you're
left and
right.
right.
Mhm. Yeah,
So they've
forums.
kind of
Mhm.
shifted off the Forum silhouette, and then this year's biggest push has been the Gazelle and the Sambas, which is why we've seen all of these really cool kind of quirky collaborations. But again, I think in the States, it's just one of those silhouettes where people are kind of slowly getting back into, whereas like where you're based, I feel like people are like, yes, love this. This is something we're used to styling.
Yeah, I think like a lot of people as well that don't really care about sneakers, they just want something that's kind of stylish, kind of comfortable, and that isn't, you know, a huge amount of money. So I think here in the UK, you see them literally everywhere, sneakerheads and non-sneakerheads. They're just and kind of all ages as well. Like you can see older men and stuff rocking a pair of Gazelles. So yeah, they're hugely popular here. But yeah, for me, I love the silhouette, but I just want something a little bit different compared to the kind of normal standard ones. And that Sean Weatherspoon collab for me is stunning.
Someone's asking for it. Rivals were actually a big rollout as well this year. I don't know if you were able to try the Rival silhouette. That's a little bit more of a chunkier, you know, thicker kind of styled sneaker. But again, it's one of those sneakers where you're like, whoa, why are they bringing this one back? But it's crazy how much brands just continue to go back to the archives, refresh something. And typically, you know, it's kind of similar with every release when you're bringing back something from the archives is you do a collaboration. And after you do the collaboration, right, what happens next? You start getting these like GR colorways popping up left and right. And then next thing you know, everyone's wearing it. Like it was magic.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, Mons. Thank you, Olivia. That was a great pick. That's why we love having you on as well, just because you know it's so nice and refreshing, honestly, to get somebody else's perspective on what's being worn outside of the States. Because you know, Mons and I, of course, have different styles based on being West and East Coast. But again, like you're in a completely different place, so it's just refreshing to hear what is being worn in the UK.
Yeah, no, it's always good. I always find it so interesting as well, like to go because most of the like content creators like yourself, always have a look at what you guys are reviewing, and usually it's kind of like quite different to what people here are wearing. Yeah.
No, for sure.
All right, Mons, you ready for number 6?
Yeah, so number 6. So we already talked about this pair since Olivia had talked about it earlier, but I do put the Baldwins number 6 for me. I'm pretty sure you kind of hit the nail on the head when you were describing this pair, but I love that it's neutral but has that pop of color. I love the gradient that he ended up doing in the back of the sneaker, and compared to the first 2 sneakers that he did, as much as I did love them and I think that they were great sneakers, I think this one is probably my favorite out of the 3. And yeah, I feel like this also is kind of comparable color wise to the Alma Maniere that I have that I absolutely love. And I know that a lot of people love. So I feel like as an alternative, this is a great sneaker to have as well. So yeah, I mean, not much more to say since we were able to talk about it. But yeah, this one's going to be at my number 6. So there it is.
I do love how J Balvin has kind of, you know, with his collabs as well, like he didn't keep it exactly similar. Can you imagine if he just kept, for instance, like the same tone of the Air Jordan 1 and did that with the 2 and the 3? I feel like it's very interesting that he diversified himself and stepped outside the box with colors, right? So just in case like people who maybe don't want that like bright kind of rainbow tone on the Air Jordan 1 have access to, you know, another silhouette, but in a more muted down kind of, you know, tone.
Right.
But definitely by far, I think it's my favorite out of the 3 that he's done collabs with the Jordan team on, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do we think a Jordan 4 is coming next?
I wouldn't be surprised. You never know. So
just going down the number system, right?
So.
At the end of the day.
Exactly.
I myself, I love a good Jordan 4. So I mean, I'd be very excited to see what he would end up doing if we, you know, end up seeing it. So yeah,
no, I definitely could see a Jordan 4 happening next year. And who knows, maybe that'll be the best colorway yet. So we'll have to go back and be like, well,
you know,
the 3 was the best out of all of them, but maybe we'll have to wait all the way till 14 if he just does them all.
I know, right? I feel like that'd be fun to do.
Exactly. So my next one, like Olivia, I don't own a pair. There's a couple pairs of sneakers that I was unable to cop this year.
Right.
I've definitely, I feel like, kind of shifted gears on sneakers that I typically am most excited about, just because the way that I style them has typically been more
Mm-hmm.
on the dressier side of things.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I've been kind of like searching for more of a different aesthetic than I
Mm-hmm.
usually have had.
Mm-hmm.
But the one I was able to cart and
Mm-hmm.
purchased, and
Mm-hmm.
then I received a confirmation email that I was receiving it,
Oh,
just to hear that they didn't have enough in stock. And so they had to cancel my order.
oh.
But it was a collaboration done with Asics and
Mm-hmm.
Cecile Bonson on the
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
GT2160. I don't
Mm-hmm.
have the exact white and silver pair. I
Mm-hmm.
keep checking back on resale, but the sneaker is going
Yeah.
for like $500 to $600. It's pretty
Mm-hmm.
insane. But this was one of the pairs that she
I love
recently collabed
it.
on
Mm-hmm.
for this
Yeah.
ASICS,
That is so
and I'm
nice.
still pretty upset about that loss, because
Mm-hmm.
it sucks when you've made the
Yeah.
purchase, they've sent you the
Right.
confirmation, just to
Mm-hmm.
find out that they didn't have enough in stock, and it makes you wonder. It's like, did you really not have enough in stock, or did somebody like
Mm.
slip that one
I know,
aside and
right? Like,
save it for a friend, wink wink.
okay. Right.
But this is the same silhouette. This is a
Mm-hmm.
2160, and I just think what she has done collaboration wise is so different than what we've
Mm-hmm.
typically seen with sneaker collaborations.
So,
Not to
yeah.
say that this is only for women. I do think that she
Right.
has a bit more of a feminine touch with her collabs, and the way that she styles it is usually kind of with like tulle dresses and skirts and
Right.
things like that. So I first saw this sneaker on the runway,
Mm-hmm.
and I just think, it's really quirky. She's got one Velcro strap on top
Mm-hmm.
with some laces on the bottom. The other color scheme I have has two Velcro straps,
Mm-hmm.
but I just think it's so subtle the way she's kind of added these cute little floral prints
Yeah.
into the mix. And again, just some different color variations that you don't typically see.
Yep.
Lots of different metallic hues as well, making it more of a dressier kind of statement piece.
Yes.
The other pair that I wasn't able to cop was a little bit more subdued. It was only silver and white,
Right.
but very similar to kind of the patterns that they have on here.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just really loving, I feel like, a lot more of these out there designers who are kind
Mm-hmm.
of more involved in the fashion realm, who are now
Yeah.
shifting and deciding
Yeah.
to incorporate sneakers into the mix, just because I think the standard for women typically is like, you can't wear sneakers with dresses. And that has kind
Mm-hmm.
of been
Yeah.
like this barrier that I've been like, no, I don't
Mm-hmm.
care what you say. Like, I want to wear sneakers with
Yeah.
dresses or skirts and things like that. And
Right.
I know Mons and Olivia, you both styled your sneakers,
Mm-hmm.
uncharacteristically of stepping outside of the box of just wearing
Yeah.
sweats with,
Right.
your sneakers
Mm-hmm.
themselves.
Yeah.
But I feel like as women, some people think, well, it's not sexy to wear, sneakers with dressier kind of looks
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. And I think it's
Mm-hmm.
important to break down those barriers and let people
Yeah.
know that, you shouldn't have to go by some type of guideline that has been like a
Mm-hmm.
typical standard. I don't know how it is in the UK, but in the US, typically, Olivia, like, women have always had this conception, I feel like, in the back of their minds that you can't
Mm-hmm.
really dress up sneakers or wear them to nice events. It's one of those things you leave behind. But
Yeah.
then, like, lately, I think I
Mm-hmm.
told you this, Mons, on one of our
Mm-hmm.
lives, where I've been seeing women just walking barefoot on the streets of New York because their heels that they've been wearing all night were so
So
uncomfortable, right?
that
And
resonates with me so much
Yeah.
from like 10 years ago.
so I'm like, just wear what makes you comfortable, and as long as you feel confident and sexy and beautiful and whatever it
Mhm.
is that you step outside your house or apartment in, like, people are
Mhm.
not going to care. They're not going to judge you. And if they do judge you, at the end of the day, it's not about them. It's what you feel
Right.
confident in and
Mm-hmm.
what makes you feel
Yeah.
comfortable. And I
Yes.
think that
Yeah.
Cecile has done just such an impeccable job of incorporating this into a different stylistic
Mhm.
wardrobe of just super girly pieces with,
Mhm.
these more feminine looking pieces.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's ASIC, so you can't go wrong. You can walk in those all
Oh,
day.
Love
it's
Asics.
like, yep. Can have this on.
All right, everyone. We are getting into our top 5. We finally made it. So, Olivia, what is your number
So,
5?
my number 5, I have thought about a lot where it was going to be placed in the top 10. I feel
Mhm.
like maybe a bit controversial to some people, but it is the Jordan 1 Travis Scott, the olive women's colorway that dropped.
Uh-huh.
I've had a lot of people say like, "Come on, like we've had so many colorways of this now. It's basically the same thing but in a different colorway."
Hmm.
Um, Here in England, and for myself, I do still think that the Jordan 1 Low Travis Scott still holds that kind of presence in the sneakerhead community. And I feel like a lot of people that aren't hugely into kind of other sneakers, everyone loves the Jordan 1 Low silhouette. I think it's
Hmm.
just always something that people here recognize. And they
Mhm.
love. The olive colorway for me is one of my favorite colorways. Olive is probably one of my favorite colors.
Mhm.
And obviously it's a women's colorway. So for me, this definitely had to be in my top five. I just think it's people say it's overrated, but I feel like you can't knock what it is. And I think this silhouette, they could keep releasing it in as many
People are gonna go
colorways as they
after
can,
it.
and people are still going to go crazy for it. People are still going to buy it. So I feel like it deserves its place in its top five for me.
Yeah. Nice.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a
No, I
sucker for
love that
green, as
color.
Mons knows. I'm biased, so you
Yeah,
throw olive green in front of me, and I'm just gonna say, "Wow, that's a great
exactly.
looking sneaker."
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I mean, I have that sneaker as well, and it's a great shoe. Like I love the colors that they used and how they color blocked everything. So, I mean, it I feel like it deserves, like some recognition as well,
Yeah,
especially yeah, if you like them, I think that's what's important, right? Is that, it works for
yeah, of
you and what you
course.
like. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, he's released so many different colors at this point,
Yeah.
and again, it is Travis Scott. So
Yeah.
I do feel
Yeah.
too like, I think people are always like, "Oh, well, it's Travis Scott and whatever he
Mhm.
releases, people are going to go crazy after." And I don't
Mhm.
agree with that. Like he's released, some of those Mac attacks in the past and I've done
Yeah,
videos on
right.
them, and other
Yeah,
Yeah.
silhouettes as well that people have not
Uh-huh.
gone crazy for. Like they passed on
that's
it actually
true.
and said it's
So true.
trash. So
Mhm.
at the end of the day, I think with these collaborations, there is some unfairness, even sometimes, where I feel like, a lot of these collabs, they don't get to choose necessarily what
Mhm.
silhouette they want to do a collab on. And I feel like if
Mhm.
somebody
Yeah.
is given like an Air Jordan 1 and then, somebody is
Mhm.
given a less popular silhouette, of course that Air Jordan 1, whether it's a high or low, is going to surpass somebody else who may, be doing a less of a high profile, sneaker.
Mhm.
So it
Yeah,
Mhm.
is, I think,
exactly.
out of their
Agree.
hands completely.
Mhm.
And, even the golf Travis Scott, like people were pretty crazy
Mhm.
about that. But again,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you have to be like, for me personally, I don't golf as much as I used to. I
Mhm.
think if I was still golfing every single month, I would have been like, that's number one
Needs
sneaker.
to happen. Right.
But
Yeah.
again, like that's not something I want to rock in the city,
Mhm.
because the bottom portion of that, it's really meant for the
Mhm.
golf course. That's not something
Yeah.
that's going to
Yeah.
tread lightly on cement all day. You're going to ruin it. But yeah, again, I think as far as color scheme goes, the fact that it
Mhm.
was a woman's exclusive, I took an L on
Mhm.
that sneaker. So,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wasn't able to add that to my collection. And it was
Mhm.
probably one of my biggest L's 100% of the year. But just again, just a very solid color. And that's a sneaker you're always
Mhm.
going to reach back for and be able to style
Yep.
and wear in your, wardrobe.
Mhm.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
Yeah.
said it right.
All right, Mons, what's your top five?
All right, number 5 is another pair that I feel like it was different for others, but I love them and had to put them at number 5. And it is the
Oh,
Union and
nice.
Becky Supply collab for the Air Jordan 1 Summer of '96. I love a good love story, of course, and I love the fact that they incorporated a lot of who they are into the sneaker. And I mean, I know that this is the first time we're really seeing this woven pattern across the sneaker, which I know was very, it was different. And I feel like a lot of people didn't really necessarily like them right off the bat. But I think that's why I like them. Is just it's so different and they were able to incorporate that into the sneaker. And, I love a neutral gray color and some of that, like teal or aqua stitching on there is just chef's kiss beautiful. And they look much better on feet, in my opinion. So yeah, I have to put that at number 5 for me.
Someone's like, those are going to age like wine. Yes, they are going to age very, very well.
Yes,
100%.
they are. I mean, look, they're just so beautiful. So, I mean, I have no other words for this one, but yeah, I've definitely already worn them out a couple times. And maybe, I don't know if this is just me, but because it has this weaving into it, it doesn't feel as stiff as like the other ones that I have.
Oh,
So that's always nice is when they're a little bit more comfortable around, especially around like the toe box area. is
Oh
always a big
yeah,
deal for me.
like they
Yeah.
really just killed it with the leather on the sneaker. I feel
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
again, it's always a surprise with these. We have no
Right.
clue what kind of material is going to actually come
Yeah, that's
out of the
true.
box. It's literally like you're crossing your fingers hoping it's going to be a good one, but like I honestly don't know who chooses the types of
Mhm.
leather. At the end of the day, it's like, "Oh, this fits within
Right.
the price point, so we're going to give you the highest
Yeah, it's
quality
like,
tumbled leather on the
you know
toe
what?
box, or this is going to be
Right.
plastic." You know?
Yeah. I know. I'm so glad this one turned out really beautifully. So yeah, I had to easily at my number 5. So
Even so, this weaving pattern,
mhm,
I don't know if
mhm,
you were keeping up
mhm,
with all the releases. This is actually something I
mhm,
feel like Nike
mhm,
and Jordan brand have
mhm.
been pushing this whole kind of weave
That's
style.
true.
So I saw it
Right.
on the Jacques
Mhm.
Mousse,
Yeah, for sure.
which was
Mhm,
really, that sneaker is probably one of the most comfortable sneakers I think I put my foot in this
mhm,
year. And it had kind of a
mhm.
similar crocheted effect.
Yeah.
Also, the cow
Mhm.
print one, I think
Yes.
we did on the
The one.
live as
Mhm.
well. Again,
Yes.
had this like same kind of woven pattern
Mhm.
into it. So it is kind of
Yeah.
interesting as well, seeing the brands, how they're incorporating different techniques that
Yes.
are
Yeah.
kind of older techniques that you typically wouldn't
Right.
see on a sneaker into different silhouettes.
Mhm.
But really cool to see it on the Air Jordan 1 High. I think honestly, out of
Yeah.
all the silhouettes I've seen, it looks the best on
Mhm.
this, just because
Yeah.
there's more sneaker to it. I feel like the
That's
crochet
true.
kind of
Yeah.
takes over
The
when
other
it's a
ones.
lower cut.
Yeah,
But
that's
yeah,
true.
solid
Yeah.
pick, Mons.
Yeah. No,
Um,
thank you. That's number 5. How about you?
So
To round
I
out our
do
number
not
5 pick.
have my number 5 because I cannot find it, everyone. I need to do some cleaning this month. Couple more days left. I can't walk in my apartment, I'm not gonna lie. It's been a very fulfilling year, but I'm going a little cuckoo right now. I have too many
Mhm.
sneakers. I literally live in a sneaker box and toy box at the same time. So I've got toys on one side of my apartment right now and sneakers on the other, which is great.
Okay.
But I need to really organize things in here. But my
Mhm.
number 5 is the same silhouette, Olivia, actually, that you dropped earlier, the 1906, but it is the Gani release, and it's the
Mm,
yellow
yeah.
pair.
Mhm. Yeah.
Definitely one of
Mhm.
those ones where I feel like every time I see somebody in New York wearing it, it's one of those eye-catching statement pieces.
Mhm.
Again, it's not like this crazy in-your-face silhouette, but it's just, I feel like the way that Gani decided to just incorporate that yellow hue into the mix. Not really
Mhm.
into yellow pairs of sneakers either. Just want to throw
Mhm.
that out there. Yellow has never been like the lightnings when you're
Okay.
talking about those. I
Yeah.
tried to rock those and I just realized it's just not me. I'm like, I'm not
Mhm.
a huge
Yeah.
yellow fan. I'll subtly incorporate it. Like, I feel like,
Mhm.
with this dunk, I can rock this because it's just subtle hues of yellow. But
Mhm.
Gani really nailed it with the tone of yellow and just
Mhm.
aesthetically. I've gotten so many compliments on that sneaker. I think it's just
Mhm.
one of those ones where, again, it's a brand we're seeing that's
Mhm.
more female eccentric. And I think, again,
Yeah.
New Balance is really stepping into more of a high fashion lane with that collab.
Yeah.
And again, it's something we're seeing on the runway and we're seeing styled differently.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's
Yeah.
my number 5.
I
All right,
love.
everyone. Whoever's just jumping in here, we are now about to get into our number 4. We've got Olivia and Mons here with us today, and we're coming from different places.
Mhm.
Mons is from San Diego. Olivia is holding it down for us in the UK. And of course, I'm from New York. So we've got such a great different perspective on our picks. Again, disclosure, these are our specific picks individually.
Mhm.
Everyone is
Yeah.
allowed to go and create their own videos and own lists for themselves. But one of the great things that you're not going to see anywhere else is the fact that we're all women. But also, we live in different environments. So, we're giving you
Mhm.
guys different tastes of what we think are the top 10 pairs of sneakers for 2023.
Mhm.
All right, Olivia. So, what is your number 4?
Number 4. So my number 4 is the Cortez MX95. So
Okay.
Cortez is a
Ooh.
brand that was founded in London. So I feel like again I have a little bit. This one's a little bit more sentimental to me because I remember they just sold. I think he came out of London. The guy that brought it up, and he started selling clothes. I think
Mhm.
from like markets and stuff. And now he's got a collaboration with Nike, which is obviously a huge,
Mhm.
huge thing. I think they actually sued him
Oh,
because
wow.
his brand is called Cortez.
Uh,
Yeah, now it's got a
mhm.
As I
collaboration,
say
and
though,
now
Olivia,
now
if you
it's
haven't been sued by Nike yet, are you really doing your thing?
yeah,
I mean, are you doing it
exactly. I
right?
feel like it was all part of the plan for him.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so like he has done so well. I feel like his shoe has obviously gone worldwide. The Air Max 95 is a hugely popular silhouette in
Mm,
England as well. Very, very
Okay.
popular. Um with men and women as well. I'd say probably more men. It's quite an aggressive silhouette, so I don't think it's necessarily one of my favorite silhouettes. So I don't know if I would have picked maybe this to be in my top five if it wasn't for that collab. But
mm,
my favorite colorway it was called Pink Tings. So that's like abbreviation. I don't know if you've ever
mm.
heard the word tings. It's like I
Mm-mm.
don't even know how to describe it. It's like usually men
So
use
pink
it for like
teens
a
is your
girl,
favorite.
like she's my ting,
Oh,
like she's my missus kind of thing. It's like slang.
oh, I
Oh,
Yeah.
see. Okay,
Um.
okay.
dang it.
So
Oh, that's cute. I like
yeah,
that.
yeah, the names are really good. But yeah, the Pink Tings was my favorite collaboration. It was like a blue, had some blue accents, then it had pink Cortez logos on the side of it and then also on the tongue as well. And the quality of the MX-95 was really nice. So I feel like it was a big moment for that brand and maybe for, like London.
Mm-hmm.
And they just look really, really good online. But yeah, sorry, they look good in real life, but I think yeah, it's a very aggressive silhouette, so it's not for everyone. Not sure
Yeah,
if you guys are fans of the Air Max 95s. Um,
I
but
love
yeah,
a good night.
really, really enjoyed that. I think yeah, it's just a kind of iconic shoe for me this year. Um, yeah, definitely love it. I think I'll be interested in getting, there's three colorways. They also did a really nice like khaki green colorway, which I really liked as well.
Mhm.
So maybe I'll try get that maybe next year as well. But yeah, that's a big one for me.
Yeah, I
Nice.
mean, I haven't picked up too many Air Max 95s. So this
Yeah.
is the Kim Jones collab. This was kind of one of
Mm,
my
mhm,
That's
first
nice. I
pairs.
haven't seen that one before.
Yeah,
mhm.
so this one released a few years ago. I actually got it on sale, which I was really
Love a good
shocked
sale.
to
Yeah.
be able to cop this. I think it was also released in like this kind of bright yellow, neon yellow
Mm,
tone. But the Air Max 95s are so comfy. Again, it's
mhm,
just
Yeah.
really cool depending on the collaboration done. Like I feel like this is a bit more of a modern look. I've always been a
mhm.
fan of Kim Jones though as well. So I feel like anytime I see
Yeah.
Kim Jones dropping or doing anything, I always like his aesthetic. But yeah, no, solid pick for the 95. I
Yeah,
like that.
no, I think so. Yeah.
How about you,
And
Mons? Do you have any Air Max 95s or
I do. I mean, I still have my neons, my 95s somewhere sitting around here. I do love a good 95. Don't get me wrong. It's probably not one of my favorite Air Maxes though. I love a good Air Max 1, 97s, 98s are more my vibe, but
Yeah.
can't go with 95s. I love it.
well, it sounds like Rory wants you to move that into your top two, Olivia, by the end of this. So
Ah!
he's going to convince you
I
to keep
wonder if
moving
he's from
that up.
England. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. So, Mons, what is your number four going to be?
Number 4 is, I'm just going to go straight into it, but it's this pair right here. And
Okay.
for those who are familiar, this is the Ronnie Feig A6 Gel Light 3 by invitation only. So, quick backstory about this one is that, I got a message from the Kith team. I'm a big fan of Kith, by the way. So, I think that's why this was just such a big deal that I got gifted this pair. But I had to put this at number 4 more so because of like the backstory around it and just the fact that it was like a thank you to the community and for being basically the day ones that have been around and been supporting the brand. So I just thought that it was fitting for me to put it at number 4. And for someone that loves like this type of palette, like this kind of like rosy blush, which is the name, it's blush, like different shades of it is just so beautiful, so wearable. And yeah, I mean, I I have no words for this because it's more so like a pinch me moment when I got that message. But yeah, I had to put this as kind of like a
Mons
commemorative
is
thing
being
for me to get
very
sentiment.
humble and subtle about this, but everyone, this is a pretty big deal.
So,
Just throwing it out
yeah, I'm
there.
not
Ronnie
still
and the Kid Team
processing.
just
I think
they
till
don't
this
just
day I'm
reach
processing
out
it.
to anyone, by the way. So congrats, Mons. This is well
Thank
deserved.
you.
I'm
But
so happy that they reached out to you and sent you this pair.
Yeah, no, thank you.
They
And
look super
yeah,
comfy.
oh, they are super comfortable. Like I love my Gel Light threes, and I know that not a lot of people love like the split tongue, but I don't know. I think it's not like super noticeable or anything. I guess depending on how you wear it, but I think the colors just like hit it out of the park
To
and
this
so
day, my Sean
beautiful. Yeah,
Witherspoon's girl, most
yeah,
complimented sneaker. I mean, because they're both,
Like,
they're so
yeah,
cool. I mean, and so
mhm,
comfortable. But I love
yeah.
the split
No,
tongue. I
I
just,
love it.
yeah, I love the
Yeah.
silhouette.
So, and it's different. Like, obviously, you don't necessarily see a split tongue very often, but yeah, I like the fact that they incorporated that. So, yep, it's gonna be my number four. Yeah.
Solid pick.
nice.
Yeah.
So
All right.
my
And
top
four.
four, let me see here. I don't have one of them. I guess this is kind of me putting it together as a pack as well, but I just
Oh,
think
yeah.
that
Knew
Wales Bonner
it.
has killed it with the collaborations this year. Between the
Mhm,
leopard print and the metallic silver one that was released.
mhm.
I don't know if both of you saw images, but the store out
Yeah.
here, when they released the silver Wales Bonner pair,
Mhm.
it was like
Yeah.
wrapped around the block twice. And it was crazy because it was honestly, it was one of the first drops I think I've seen women actually
Mhm.
outnumbering the guys outside
We love to
waiting
see
for
it.
a sneaker. Because
Yeah.
typically when I'm
Mhm,
waiting outside, they're looking at me like, "Hey, are you in the wrong
mhm,
place?" Yeah, the
mhm,
other shop across the way for the apparel is, across the
mhm.
street, or yeah, the store's not open. I've heard it all. But it's just been really cool to see Adidas, pushing the Sambas, the Gazelles, all of these more Euro style, like we were talking about, Olivia,
Mhm,
silhouettes. But Wales
mhm,
Bonner has always been one of
mhm,
my favorite collaborators. I think that she
mhm,
just is very high end. I think, I
mhm,
guess I would put it, just because of, I don't know if you've worn any of like her pieces she's done with Adidas, but like the
mhm.
quality on anything Wales Bonner, I just always feel like it's like a very big statement piece, or very high fashion. And I love what she's done with different materials on the silhouette, and even just adding like this blue satin. I never would have thought blue satin, honestly, would have gone with
Mhm.
leopard print. Like, I typically think of
Yeah.
red for some reason when I think of leopard print,
True.
but
Yeah.
it's really refreshing to see,
Mhm,
just how she's really intertwined different materials into the mix,
mhm,
and different patterns and colors, because that's just something that's really hard to do. I feel like sometimes you see
mhm.
these collabs and you're like, wow, that was so easy, or
Right.
did they really put
Right.
any thought into that?
Yeah.
So really love
Mhm.
this. Really love the metallic silver, which I think that metallic silver, by the way, because I've been keeping an eye on the resale market on that,
Yeah.
is almost to like $600. So it's very
Oh,
frustrating because I may not be able to add that to the collection by the time it reaches 1,000. Who would have thought a
when you go
Samba would
wrong and then
be
you just
going for
That's
resale for like
crazy.
almost $1,000? Is that insane?
That is insane. And as well, like I don't think I'd usually like I'd stay away from leopard print on shoes, I think usually, but I feel like with those, I feel like I could rock them. The leopard print, yeah, it works so nice with that
Mhm,
blue. So
So
nice.
nice. Yeah.
mhm,
It's refreshing, and I think, people are always like, "Wow, I can't believe you would put sneakers like that in your
mhm.
top 10." But you go back and you look at people who are so into resell and like how much
Yeah.
sneakers are going for. It is
Mhm.
the sneakers that no one thought to even go after that are actually
Yeah.
doing the best on the
Mm,
resale market right now. And I
Yeah.
would say, like,
Mhm.
this year, the Wales Bonner are at the top of the list. It isn't a
Yeah.
Jordan, it isn't a Dunk,
Yeah.
it's a
Right.
Samba.
Yeah.
yeah,
Or it's an
yeah,
Yeah.
Asics, or it's a
Right.
Saucony. Like, it's these
Mhm,
obscure brands that never were really at the
mhm.
forefront of the resale market that
Yeah.
are
yeah,
doing the best this year. And
Yeah.
that's why I love having both of you on, because I feel like we're more
Yeah.
obscure and we like to talk
Mhm,
about, silhouettes and brands that
mhm.
not necessarily didn't necessarily make it on other people's list,
Yeah.
but that are
Mhm,
actually doing the best when it comes to resell, which is crazy.
mhm.
A
yeah,
lot of people
yeah.
probably didn't know that, but yeah, Wales
Yeah.
Bonner is probably one of
Mhm,
the most sought after sneaker this
mhm.
year.
Yeah.
All
I'm
right.
not surprised. Yeah.
Everyone jumping in. Thank you for hanging in there with us as we reach our top three. We've got some
There we
amazing picks from both
go.
Mons and Olivia already. So I'm excited to see what is your top three, Olivia, for 2023.
Great. Wow, my third one, I couldn't pick the order of, I think, the third one and the
It's
second one. It was so hard. Even the first one, it's so hard. There's so many
I
nice,
know,
nice,
it's hard.
nice shoes this year. Um, I feel like this one's pretty kind of standard in a lot of people's top three, but it was another Nike SB. It was the Born and Raised. I think this was so
Mm.
iconic, kind of because of the story. I always love, kind of similar to what you guys are saying. I always love when there's something a bit more to the sneaker than just, you're releasing a silhouette and a colorway.
Mhm.
There's some kind
Mhm.
of, even whether it's good or bad or whatever, there's some kind of story behind a sneaker. I just feel like it's a lot of, like, it holds a greater sentiment. And it's so much
Mhm.
more special than just,
Yeah.
picking up like a standard boring sneaker. But this one I just really, really loved the design of it. There were so many little details in it. The kind of
Mhm.
holographic back tab, when you like moved it,
Yeah.
it changed, which I think was so cool. You don't really see that in a lot of sneakers. And as I said before, an SB Dunk I still hold really kind of highly up in my kind of top sneakers.
Mhm.
Can't break that bondage with it yet. And an SB
Mhm.
Dunk is just so much more comfortable, and I think it's just so
Mhm.
much more
Mhm.
aesthetically good looking. And the laces on these were so nice as well. Of
Mhm.
course, it comes kind of with a bit of a sad story with the passing. But
Mhm.
the lace choice was really nice. So for
Mhm.
me, these made my
Mhm.
top three.
Nice.
Mons, I know you picked those up, so I know that was a
I
very
did pick those
special
up.
Oh yeah.
sneaker for you.
Yeah, I know they're here also somewhere, but I mean, blue's my
So
favorite color,
regardless.
so I was very happy to pick those up, and I think that's a great pick. I love all of the little details that went into it. There was definitely a lot of love
Mm,
behind the story that was put into it, and you can really see
yeah,
it like,
exactly.
when they executed the pairs. So it's so beautiful. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to
Yeah,
agree.
yeah. For me as well. Like I love like a 3D kind of looking swoosh.
Yeah. A lot of
Just gives the
holographic
shoe a bit more
details and
character.
yeah,
Yeah.
Definitely
no,
killed it
for
this year.
sure.
I feel like the SB team. They gave
They
us,
did. They
they made
really
us
did.
wait, I feel like, but it was
Yeah,
worth the wait towards the
yeah,
end of the year to start giving us
Wait,
some heat.
yeah.
All right, Mons,
yeah.
what's your number three going to be?
All right, number three. Another speaking of sentiments. So this one probably will be in my number three.
I had this
So since
feeling
we were
that was going to
speaking
make
of
it.
the rivalry, what was that?
I said I had a feeling this was going to make it.
Yeah, this is so more sentimentally. So for those who aren't familiar, this is the collaboration between Unheard of brand Adidas. This is the Adidas Rivalry Low, and this is in the Grandma's Couch colorway. It did come in two different colorways. This is Grandma's Couch, and then the other one, which is the brown one, is Mom's Ugly Couch. So I had to put this in number three because this was essentially an ode to Phil's grandmother who helped raise him. And for me, as someone who also had their grandmother raise them during childhood, like I don't know, I not that I don't know, but like I think this one just takes the cake with story and design. Oh, sorry. Of course, someone had to call me right now. Sorry about that. Yeah, with design and overall the colorway that they used and just all of the details that were important to her, and she always had that slogan, always be a good boy, on there. And I do want to give my condolences to the Unheard of team because I'm not sure if y'all are aware, but she had recently passed away. I believe these past couple of weeks, I
Oh
believe, is
no, I
when
didn't hear
you know
about that,
gone.
Mons. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
so yeah.
Oh, that's so sad.
But yeah, I wanted to give my condolences to their team because I know how much of a pillar she is in his life and the community itself. So yeah, I had to put this at number three. So there's that.
Aw. Yeah, very.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how rivalries are
Mhm.
in England, Olivia, but
Mhm.
it's definitely been something we've seen Adidas pushing this year. So we've
Mhm.
seen some pretty unique collaborations
Mhm.
being done. Do you see a lot of people wearing those on foot out there, or any pushes?
No, I haven't seen
Okay.
them at all. They're very kind of similar, aren't they, to a lot of the other Adidas silhouettes. They look a
Hmm.
lot more chunky though, which I really like.
Mhm. Yeah.
Really like. I bet you they'll come in soon to England.
Yeah. No. Definitely not a silhouette I
Nice.
would go for myself, but I think the way that they executed it and the design was just so nice to me. And I love the colors and all the little details and all the embroidery. And yeah, so
Love it.
had, yeah. All right. And number three.
My number three, I do not have. This is
Hmm.
probably my biggest L I feel like I took this year. It's the
Hmm.
Sandy Lang XT6 Solomons. It
Yeah.
was
Ooh.
such a cool collaboration, in my opinion. I've always wanted a Sandy Lane collab, but I can't get them to save my life. It was very limited, and
Mhm.
I would say probably one of the highest sneakers on the resale market right now. It's probably like around
Yeah.
$800 to $900, I think, in my size,
Right.
unfortunately. But it was beautiful. The concept, the story behind it. I just loved the purple, kind of similar to the purple actually on the sneaker you just had out with the rivalries, Mons.
Yeah. Hmm.
But I again am just I think veering towards other brands and collabs that we haven't really seen. And I think Solomon again is just one of those brands that is killing it. I think I saw like a BOF article, and I think Solomon was one of those brands where they were talking about how, the most interesting companies that were able to stay afloat this year, since it was such a difficult year for a lot of brands, even Nike, to really,
Yeah.
be up there as far as, I guess escaping by and making a good amount of value percentage wise in sales this year has been very difficult with inflation. But Solomon has definitely been one of those brands I feel like that has managed to really just, I think, revamp themselves and have these really quirky, unique collabs where, you're not really seeing these types of designers with other brands, and they're just bringing something refreshing and new. But again, Solomon is just so comfy. And I don't have a lot of pair of Solomon shoes. It's one of those I've been trying to be able to cop a couple pairs, and I just can't save my
Here.
life.
No, I
Uh,
totally get it. Yeah.
so
I totally
hard
agree with you.
and
Yes.
frustrating. I don't know how the brand Solomon is, Olivia, where you are, but it is pretty big out here in the States. It's just one of those things where you rarely see people rocking collabs because they're so far and few and very hard to get because of how limited they are with their releases.
Mhm.
But that's
Yeah, I
definitely
think I think that is like an up and coming brand, I guess, in England.
Mhm.
I think I don't personally have I don't own a pair of them, but I've seen some kind of pictures maybe in the last year and a half or so of some
Mhm.
really nice collaborations.
I
But
feel like
then yeah, getting
Palace,
hold of
this
them's
one would
another
have done
story.
well. Let me see if I can hold this up. But
Oh,
this
that's
is
Yeah,
amazing.
that's
a
so
this is a
clingy.
collab
Yeah.
done with Palace.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Palace is huge over here as
That's
well.
what I was
So
gonna say. I
people
know
would have been
Palace
all
is
over that.
huge,
Yeah.
way bigger where you are than it is here. Because Supreme is a
Yeah,
little bit bigger than
everyone loves
Palace
that.
is, I feel like, in the States. But
Mhm.
you're starting to see Solomon
Mhm.
partner with like these big hype brands. So you
Yeah,
kind of can see the direction they're kind of teetering
Mhm.
in.
Right.
yeah. And I feel like that kind of brand fits in with the kind of like Asics kind of
Mhm.
lifestyle shoes. I feel like all
Mhm.
of that is kind of on its way to be the
Mhm.
next big thing. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see loads of more Solomon shoes as well. And I need to pick up a pair, but yeah, I have to
You're gonna
be on
love,
top of
especially if
that
you like
to
Asics.
pick
I
up
feel
a
like it's
pair.
the perfect transition. You're gonna love
I
Solomon.
think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, everyone. Hope that everybody's still
Amazing.
with us, having a good time.
More.
We are basically making it to our final little top
Mhm.
two. It's been such a fun and exciting
I
list,
know.
seeing what each of you
Mhm.
enjoyed the most in this 2023 year. But Olivia, what's your number two gonna be?
Ooh, number two. Wow, this probably isn't a lot. This isn't a surprise for a lot of people in England, but it is the Jordan 4, the Pine Green, the SB Jordan 4. As
Nice.
I said before, Jordan 4s are absolutely huge here, and it's always a shoe that I
Mhm.
always go to, kind of no
Yeah.
matter what I'm wearing as well. I
Mhm.
think in the last like year or two, yeah, there
Uh-huh.
we go.
I'm
It
gonna I'm
is
just gonna
just, I
throw it
think,
out there since you're already on this. This is my number two as well. So
is
this
it?
is we are on the
Yeah,
same wavelength, Olivia. This is my
Nice.
number
I think,
two.
yeah, the
Mhm.
comfort on this is
Yeah.
crazy compared to
Yeah.
a normal Jordan 4, and I think that's what
Yeah.
just gives it that kind of edge. I think I read somewhere they did 2 years worth of testing on skaters for
Yeah.
this
That's what I heard as
shoe.
well.
Yeah, so yeah,
Mhm.
and the colorway is just so clean, and the
So
quality
cool.
is just it.
Mhm.
I don't know how anyone could not like this shoe.
Yeah, I agree.
We'll
I
take a
think
moment
just
for the
conceptualizing
Jordan.
it too, because you're really taking a hit
Mhm.
if it doesn't work out, and having
Yeah.
to even
Yeah.
think about
Mhm.
something from the skateboarding division and something from
Mhm.
the basketball division and fusing the two together is a bit
Yeah.
tricky because again,
Yeah.
they needed that amount of time to test it because the
Right.
technology for both sports is so different.
Right.
And also it needs to look good aesthetically. And I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
just it's so clean. They didn't go crazy and like making this a very loud tone,
Mhm. Yeah.
but it's perfect in a sense where, you know, this is just such a smart and well done sneaker tech
Mhm.
wise because it's going to work for both ends of basketball and skateboarding. But again,
Right.
it's not to the point where you can't style this as a lifestyle sneaker. I think I've seen so many people rocking these and it just looks good on foot.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
It
I
looks
mean, yeah.
so good on
Continue.
foot, and
Yeah.
anyone as well. Like anyone could literally pull it off.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Oh, I love it so much. It is such a good sneaker.
I'm like, Mons, this isn't your number 2 as well, is it? Because that would be
It is not.
hilarious.
It is not. I have something else for number 2, but I am glad that you guys were able to. You guys had it for number 2. Um, but I do have something different. It's not Nike, but a pair that I acquired recently as well. And Marissa, I know you already know, but I have to
Ah,
put my Studios, the
Ooh.
A6 1130 at number 2. For those who aren't familiar, so this is going to be the third pair of the trilogy that they came out with. This is the Glacier colorway, and my first pair of 1130s. And the reason why I put it at number 2 is probably because of like the amount of times I've worn it and like the wearability and just kind of like also the overall execution of the pair. And I feel like I've reached for these so many times for the short amount of time that I've had them. So I feel like for me, that kind of just shows how much I love them and how much at least like it means to me in terms of a sneaker. And I love that we're talking about sneakers, like how sentimental it is, which is so fun to talk about. And yeah, I think I would love to have the other 2 as well, just to kind of like complete the set. But yeah, I'd have to put these at number 2. So
That
Hall
colorway is
Studios
lovely.
yeah.
literally, like I've done a couple sneakers on
So
the
good.
channel with Hall
Mhm.
Studios, and every single time, like they really nail it with their collaborations. I think just,
Yeah.
you
Mhm.
know, their aesthetic is pretty consistent, but I feel like I
Mhm.
haven't seen a pair where I'm like, oh, I can't believe Hall Studios came out with this. Like every single
Yeah.
time, they just like nail it, and
Yeah.
that pair clearly is a very wearable color scheme.
Very wearable, so comfortable, and I mean, I can't stop. Like when you have so many shoes and you can only pick like 5 and it's the only 5 you wear all the time. This is one of those pairs for me. It's just I can't stop wearing them, and considering I have so many other options that I can choose from, it's just I think it speaks to, just how well the shoe like I guess ranks in my top 10 at least. So, yeah, but
Solid pair. I think
Good
you're turning
pair.
into an Asics girl,
I
Mons.
am.
My
Yeah.
goodness. I'm looking over here like,
I have to say, like, I was never an ASIC girl, but I mean, I feel like that's the great part of sneakers is that when I first started, yeah, a lot of my sneakers were just Nike. Like, I cannot recall
Mm.
any other. Maybe I wore New Balance like the 574s a long time ago, but
Mhm.
that's probably the extent of it. I was definitely a Vans girl, Converse, like all of the very basic sneakers that were affordable to get that I can wear and beat up and not feel bad about it. But now that we're evolving, as time goes by, yeah, I'm not going to be surprised when I pick up more Solomon's. I'm looking for my first pair of Hokas, so more to come,
I know. Well,
going into
maybe
the new
we'll
year.
we'll jump into some Hokas next year.
We
Oh,
will,
the
I promise
Aritzia.
we will be jumping more into that as soon as I acquire some pairs in my collection. So,
Do you have Aritzia, Olivia, in England? Do they have that out there? I don't know.
No, what's that?
So Aritzia, it's kind of like it's a little bit more expensive, I would say, than the Zara.
mhm, yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
how would you
Oh,
explain
okay.
Aritzia, Mons? I don't even know. It's like Zara, but more expensive, and they have like more curated, I think, in-house brands. But they, for the first time,
Yeah.
actually did a collaboration with Asics this year. I actually got all 3 pairs.
Mhm.
Mons, I know that you got some as
I got the
well.
black. Yeah, I got them as well.
And
It
again,
almost
it's
made my top 10 because of how much I wore that pair
oh,
too.
really? I was shocked actually. I thought I was gonna see that
I
pair.
know. I was really thinking about it. I was like, should I put it in my top 10? I don't know. If I
We got a curry fan in here. He's like pushing us to pick up some curries. I don't think I have not reviewed, I don't think, a curry on our channel before. You
I
guys
don't think
tried out
I've
a
tried
curry
one, but
before? I don't know if that's
No,
popular either, Olivia, in England, but
no.
yeah, I
I
haven't done a curry
think it's
yet.
more America.
yeah.
All right, Cal. We'll see what we can do in 2024.
Yeah.
Maybe a curry will make it on the list. I don't know yet. He's like, LOL. I'm dead.
You never know. Never say never.
Right. All right, everyone. So we have finally made it to our top pick of 2023.
Mhm.
I know this was a hard decision for myself. It always is every year, but
Yeah.
I feel like I'm making it more difficult on the qualifications to make it this far for sneakers. But Olivia, what is your number one pick for 2023?
So I kind of base this sneaker not just on only how it looks and how it fits, but kind of one of the sneakers that I always reach to because I think that that is quite important to make my top sneaker. So I went for the New Balance 9060 Bricks and Woods collaboration. Um,
Ah, the Bricks and
that in
Woods.
my yeah,
Yeah.
I am obsessed with the pair, and I feel like I always get compliments as well. Every time I wear them, someone always says to me, "Oh, how much they like them," or "What are they?" And the quality on these are just absolutely stunning. And the
Mhm.
laces I've got they're like fuzzy laces. They're like fuzzy
Mm-hmm.
fleece laces. They're
Yeah.
just really different. They're just very yeah. They stand out. And again, this was another kind of pair that has a story behind it. So it was
Mm-hmm.
kind of designed by to look like his grandma's house. So you've
Mhm.
got colours of like blue and cream, and you've also got green to represent literally like the sky, the grass, and then you've got like these different types of you've got like suede on there, you've got some leather, to represent like blankets and stuff inside his grandma's house, which I think is absolutely lovely, and the
Everybody's
boxing as
repping the
well,
grandmas
the
this
whole
year,
kind of
huh?
experience.
Ooh, that is really
Yeah, what is
cool.
I love
it?
it.
With grandmas.
This year, I love it though. I'm here for it. I'm all
Yeah.
about it.
Like Mons, I was raised
Yeah,
by my
yeah, me
grandmother as
too.
well. So it's kind of
Yeah.
like you
Mhm.
have this sentimental,
Yeah,
history of
Mhm.
your
Yeah.
upbringing, the first things you remember, when you're a kid. So
Yeah.
it's nice that they're
Mhm.
incorporating
yeah,
that. I agree
Yeah.
with you though, Olivia. That Brooks and Woods
Mhm.
collab on point. The 9060 silhouette in
stunning.
general is
I love it.
so
Yeah,
incredibly
So
comfortable. I
good.
have all the
so
Dro Fresh
good.
goods
Yeah.
pieces from that 9060 collab that he
Mhm.
dropped, and it's definitely one of those sneakers I feel like I could walk around all day and never get tired
Mhm.
in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Crazy to
literally.
think it's a
I
brand
think
new
that's one
silhouette
of
as well,
the
right?
Mhm.
Recent. That's not something that was
yeah,
pulled from the archives.
Mhm.
They recreated
Yeah.
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, I think it's one of those like I only brought about two pairs of sneakers because I'm not at my house. I'm with my
Mhm.
family, and that is just the pair I always go for because
Yeah.
I just find them so easy to get on, and they just
Yeah.
look so good. Like the cream colorway is probably one of my favorite kind of tones. So yeah,
Yeah.
that is my top one.
Amazing. Well, I love your top 10, Olivia.
Mhm.
Mons, what is going to be your number one?
All right. Well, it won't be a surprise, but I actually put them at number one for me.
Okay, I was like, Mons,
Yeah.
I know you have
Ah,
that
I
sneaker
thought you
next to
were
your
gonna
foot.
put them
Where is it?
on.
Yeah, I put them at number one. And I mean, a lot of the time, similar to what you said, Olivia, is a lot of the time I kind of pick my number one around story and just like impact in the community and stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure I had picked a lot of the pairs that I put into my list with that in mind. However, I think, like you said, this is the pair that I reached for probably the most since I got them. And I think we've already talked about it since, of course, you both had it at number two. But I think the fact that they were able to mesh together Nike SB and Jordan Force to make this
Mm,
beautiful, sneaker in itself just kind of speaks for itself, I think. And I know for a fact that for me, this is going to be a pair that I will continuously continue to reach for. And yeah, I mean, if they do consider putting out more colors, which we will find out hopefully, I feel like it's one of those pairs that I will continue to grab for and pick up if I can, of course.
Can you
So
imagine that in like a cement or Oreo colorway? I
imagine,
oh.
think I think I'm gonna go for every color actually.
yeah,
I'm ready.
Yeah.
you said
Little
I think
fire red
everyone
action.
I think everyone just likes this pair, and I think I mean I don't know, like there's just nothing else I could say about it. I just love this pair, and
Yeah.
yeah, had to put it at number one for me. So yeah,
Speaks for itself,
Solid
really. I mean, we
choice.
could just put
for
that on the
itself, I mean,
table and it
just
would
put it
talk for
out
us.
there. It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
So all right, and last but not least, of course, what has come into your number one.
This will be a shock for everyone, probably, but I'm gonna explain why. Mons, you already picked this one, but my number
Yes,
one
yes.
is going to actually be the CPFM.
Hmm.
Um, the reason I put this as number one is
Hmm.
because I feel like it takes balls to
Hmm.
literally go and recreate something like this.
Yeah. Hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know personally if I would have it in myself, like to do
Hmm.
something this crazy and
Yeah.
unsafe. It's kind of like you're
Hmm.
not playing on the safe line of things where you have something to
Hmm.
catch you in case people hate it. But I just
Yeah.
think that
Hmm.
incorporating this brand new kind of silhouette and style and theme and all the
Hmm.
pieces that came with
Hmm.
this silhouette and the way that people have reacted to this, I think I've
Yeah.
never seen this kind of reaction before on the streets of New York. One of the things I get to do, unlike a lot of people, because New Yorkers
Mhm.
mainly walk, we ride the subway, so people are always interacting with you or sitting and you have nothing else to stare at but feet all day.
Right.
Maybe actually in the UK, if you're on the tube, Olivia, you would probably experience something more like that as well. But I just feel like the reactions I've gotten from people when I've
Mhm.
worn these has been so insane, but in a positive way, kind of just like a
Right.
statement like,
Right.
whoa, what's on your feet? Those are so
Yeah.
crazy cool. And so I
Mhm.
feel like out of all of the sneakers released this year, this has definitely been
Mhm.
like one of those statement pieces. I think the first
Yeah.
person I saw wearing this was Kerwin Frost. And right now, like
Mhm.
Kerwin Frost has a crazy chicken nugget meal going on at
Oh,
McDonald's. I don't know if
right.
that's
Mhm.
in England right now, Olivia, but he's
No,
like
yeah.
huge right now in McDonald's. And he was one of the first people to get seated a pair of these. And
Mhm.
his aesthetic and personality is so
Mhm.
crazy and out there. And I feel like
Right.
sometimes when people do releases like this, they tank and they don't do well. Or it's like
Yeah.
the complete
Mm.
opposite and they just skyrocket and people go crazy after these. Even if you, oh yeah,
Mhm.
this is my chicken nugget Kerwin Frost that I got.
Oh my God.
It's really funny.
Oh, it's cute.
So there's different, I think there's like 8 different chicken nugget options of Kerwin
Mhm.
Frost dressed as a nugget in
Right.
different ways.
Mhm. Yeah.
I actually think, strangely enough, there's resell on the whole collection as well, which is a very like
Oh my
weird thing to really
goodness.
want. But
Yeah.
hey, I guess some people really like
Yeah.
chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
But even like the resale on these is
Mhm.
insane.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
think that this was
Mhm.
definitely one of those afterthoughts where people were kicking themselves, not going after it.
Mhm.
And
I
again,
think
it
so
did
too.
release in that sage tone that you had.
Mhm.
I typically am just an all black girl here in New York, so this is definitely something that I've been reaching for because it's so easy to
Uh,
just transition again into my wardrobe. But I just have to give it to CPFM.
yeah.
I think
Mhm.
that she did such an incredible job. Crazy
Mhm.
backstory too. I used to
Yeah.
actually live in the same building as her, and during COVID,
Right.
I was hanging out with
Yeah.
her and her boyfriend on the rooftop like every
Oh my
single day.
goodness.
And I knew it was her, but I
Mhm.
didn't want to be that person because we lived in the same building. But it
Mhm.
was like, hey, what's up? I have a sneaker channel,
Mhm. Yeah.
But yeah, this is my number one. But I
Yay.
loved everybody's picks. I love how diverse and
Same.
different our selections were
Yes.
too. I think it's like
Mhm.
refreshing
Yeah.
to just get different perspectives because I feel like a
Yeah.
lot of people typically choose the same top 10, and it's a
Right.
bit frustrating
Mm-hmm.
because like you think about how many sneakers dropped this year. I think I've almost
Mhm.
unboxed 365 again this year,
Mhm.
and there's just like so much to choose from, but everybody chooses the same thing. And I just
Mhm.
think the great part
Mm.
about like loving
Mhm.
sneakers is that we get our own
Mhm.
identity and our
Yeah.
own selection of what
Right.
works for us, and I think that everybody should think
Yeah.
about that. Like, you don't need to be like
Mhm.
everyone else out there. You
Right.
don't have to like follow the trends necessarily if it doesn't
True.
work for
Yeah.
you.
No, I agree with you. And I know I love listening to everyone's top 10 and definitely not the same as other ones that I've heard so far. There have definitely been some consistencies that I've seen in terms of what people would deem their top 10. But yeah, I love the fact that all of ours are different and that it really, I think it also shows like what's important to us as well as people and just like what resonates with us as
Mm-hmm.
sneaker collectors. So this is so fun. I'm so glad
Yeah.
that we were able to do
Any
this all
runners
together.
up? I always like to do this just in case like it didn't
Ooh.
make your top 10, but were there any runners up where you're like, "Oh, this
Yeah.
is one that could have
I
made the top 10 but didn't quite."
yeah, I had the Nocta glides. I felt like for me that was
Ah.
like a whole I feel like as a collaborator, usually, like Travis Scott, for example, he doesn't get to pick or create his own shoe. He has to get one that's already like a Jordan 1 or whatever. Whereas I feel like the Nocta Guide was a whole new silhouette that we haven't seen before, which I felt was iconic. So yeah, I nearly put that one in as well because I'm a huge fan of the Nocta Guides. I feel like it's just a very different, like a
Mhm.
fresh silhouette that's come into the mix. Again, I feel I don't know how it was in America, but I felt like for me that's kind of a bit of an aggressive shoe as well.
Mm-mm.
So I think it was quite popular here, but I don't know how it was
The Nocta
on
did
your side
very
of
well
things.
out here. I feel like
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah,
people, went after that. I feel like Nocta has
Mhm.
had some ups and downs just because of the price
Mhm.
point.
yeah, for sure.
Even like the capsule collections that drop for Nocta are
Yeah,
insane. I'm just
Mhm.
like, it's gonna cost you $2,000 just to have a full head to toe outfit, and I don't know who has
Mhm.
that kind of money to drop,
yeah,
on a regular
yeah,
basis, but
exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
it's definitely one of those
Mhm.
shoes I think that was on a lot of people's radar this year, and I think that Nocta
Mm,
again, like in previous years, has not. It's kind of slumped. Like I don't know about you,
Right.
Mons, but going to I
yeah,
feel like a lot of the sneaker conventions, I would
Yeah.
see like a couple people with Nocta sitting on their tables, but
Yeah.
they weren't really
Right.
moving as much.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I
yeah,
feel like at least for me, I haven't necessarily seen them out in the wild per se, but I think yeah, I because it's so different, probably similar to I would say the CPFM, it is very different. So I think
yeah,
when it's different, I feel like sometimes it can be a little some people are more conservative when it comes to trying it out and stuff like that, but yeah.
yeah,
Completely.
for sure.
Any
Yeah.
runners up for you,
What
Mons?
about you guys?
Hmm. I would say for me, I actually really love the Sandy Liang Solomons too. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to get them. I almost put in my Solomon, the Nocha collaboration, the stained grass one. Olivia, if you didn't know, well, from this conversation, so green has been my color of the year. So I have been picking up a lot of green pairs. So then that
All
one
of
was
us
like
love green. What are
I
the
love
odds?
that.
I know. Is it
the
funny
Yeah,
that I'm
odds.
wearing green
It's
underneath my
not my
black
favorite
shirt?
color. I don't even know why I suddenly have this obsession with green, but that one was very, very close. But out of all of the pairs I had already put in my top 10 list, I feel like I couldn't move any of them to make room for that one. So I would say that one was like a runner up for me. Yeah.
I think definitely the Travis Scott, probably one of my
Mhm.
runner ups.
Yeah. Mhm.
Again, it can be
mm,
hard too putting shoes unless
Mhm.
you've had them in hand or like
Yeah.
seen them in your top 10 list. So that's
mm,
why I was kind of like fumbling the ball a little bit because I'm like, there's so many I didn't get that I really liked.
Yeah.
Is this something
That's
that
true.
I really
yeah,
feel deserves a place in my top 10?
Mhm.
Travis Scott's, though, I mean, it's just, there's the only time I specifically have been able to win a pair of
Mhm.
Travis Scott's is through raffles out here. Like, I have not been able to
Right.
win on
Mhm.
Sneakers Up
yeah,
to save my life.
yeah.
So
Never
this year
myself.
was an unlucky year for myself. Did you both win them on raffles?
Oh, Olivia can
No,
go first.
I no, I well, yeah, I guess I won it on a raffle, but not a sneakers raffle,
Yeah.
like a shoe shop raffles. Here in England, I feel
Yeah.
like you don't really pick up shoes through like going to a store. Like that's really
Mhm.
uncommon. Um,
Right, right.
Oh,
even in
interesting.
London, I think maybe a long time ago it was really common. So I mean, I don't think in the last 2 years I've ever gone to a store to queue for a shoe. So I
Mm.
Yeah.
do think
It's
things like
probably
that are a lot
smart,
harder to get
honestly.
here.
You probably
Mhm.
see in
I
the
don't know if
news what
that's because they've
happens,
got
right? The fights that happen when you queue up for sneakers.
yeah. I'm
It's
not
probably
about
a
that
reason you
life.
don't do it.
Yeah, no, yeah. So I think it's a lot harder to get here because there's not as many like shoe shops as well. You've got like the big ones like Foot Locker. You've got some
Mhm.
UK ones, but the actual kind of like skater shops and things like that is really hard to get. So a lot of it is like raffles online, but there are a lot
Mhm.
of independent kind of shoe shops that do raffles, which I think
Mhm.
is easier to pick up your shoes than like sneakers. Like sneakers, I think it's probably the same for you guys. It's
Mhm.
so difficult to get a pair, especially a pair of Travis Scott's. So yeah, the
Mhm.
Mhm.
independent shops are kind of my way to get a lot
Right.
of these drops.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and for Travis Scott drops specifically too, those are typically tier one stores. So just like Nike
Right.
SBs, those are tier orange stores. And I feel like when it's in the tier 1 or orange tier, you're going to have the most difficult time getting, because it's just
Yeah.
less stores that are actually getting those pairs, and they're probably
Mhm.
limited in size as well. So even if
Yeah.
you raffle, you could win, but maybe, for us women, we sometimes don't make the cut, and the smallest
Right.
size typically can be like a men's size 8.
Right.
And so you get unlucky
Yeah.
there. But yeah, definitely you'll get kind of the first come, first serves out here, which every single
That's true.
time I've seen those happen, it's so dangerous. Even the most recent drop, the Sky High Farm and Nike and Cause drop for the Air Force Ones. I
Mhm.
don't know if you
Mhm.
both were able to see that. Like, I was
Mhm.
outside one of the stores that was dropping it, and I
Yeah.
mean, it was wrapped around the block. But anytime you have
Yeah.
those lines out here, what happens is people will like cut, or they'll hold spots for their
Exactly.
friends.
Right.
And so when the
Mhm.
friends come in to like take their spot in the line,
Right.
that's when
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
altercations happen and fights are occurring. In my
Yeah.
opinion, it's just not worth it. It's like, you know
I agree.
what? I'm not trying to get
Yeah.
Yeah.
stabbed. I'm
Of
not trying to get
course.
Yeah.
shot out here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as we love sneakers, right? It's definitely not worth it trying to be in those lines and get into unnecessary altercations. And for me, if it is a first come first serve, I feel like it also depends on the type of store. If like people are familiar with it or know that it's a first come first serve type of deal, then I'll go. If it's not really a crazy line, but a lot of the time, if I know it's a really big release, I just kind of resort to my online raffles or anything that would require me not to, I guess, interact with as many people as possible.
I know.
um, because man, those can be really tough for sure. And yeah, I mean, kind of similar experience when I was trying to get the board and raise pair. That was quite a time. But yeah.
So somebody was asking us, what was on your list as the worst sneaker to release? I know this could take a second to think about, but out of all the sneakers that released this year, what would you say was the worst one? I have to I think I know what mine
I have
is,
to
so I can
think.
give you. So I actually was really disappointed, I
Mhm.
feel like, in the Sakai drop this year. Like, typically I'm really gung ho
Oh,
about Sakai collaborations. I typically always go after them.
yeah.
The Nike, it was called the Mag Escape SP.
Oh yes.
It
Uh-huh.
kind of looks like a hiking shoe a bit,
Uh-huh.
in this like varsity royal tone. But
Uh-huh.
I would say, like, out of all the Sakai sneakers that, she's released in the past, this was probably one of
Hmm.
the ugliest pairs. And just,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hmm.
I specifically couldn't even try and coordinate that. I feel like into a lifestyle sneaker. I think it's definitely
Hmm.
meant for like the mountaineer. And I've been
Hmm.
watching like too many outdoor disasters. So I feel like I'm like too scared to go hiking these days. I really need to stop watching the stuff on YouTube. But yeah, it's a very outdoorsy kind of pick.
Hmm.
What about
I
you
feel like
two?
I
Any
never
any
get
pairs
asked
that
this.
you
What was that?
no, I was saying any other pairs that you guys didn't enjoy?
I think usually really look forward to the Halloween drops. Like in
Mm, mhm.
past years, I've got a lot of. They're mostly dunks, but I've got like the mummy dunks that drops, and there was also another Halloween pair.
Mhm.
Which I've got. I never wear them, but they're really like they glow in the dark, and I feel like they're really cool. You know, they're really different. I feel like it's the time of the year where Nike, especially Nike,
Yeah.
can release some really kind of like unusual shoes. So I
Yeah.
was really looking forward to it this year, and then I felt like all of them kind of flopped for me.
Mm-hmm.
They did a Air Force One, a black Air Force One, which I'm not the hugest fan of a black Air Force One.
Mhm.
And then they did some like SB mid dunks. Again, not, a mid for me personally. I never pick up a mid. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
quite an awkward kind of silhouette height to
Mm-hmm.
wear.
Mhm.
So yeah, I was expecting a lot more from them on Halloween, not necessarily one specific pair, but I just thought all of
Right.
them um, were a bit disappointing.
Mm-mm.
Kind of seemed rush. I agree with
Mhm.
you on that. And I do feel like it gets
Yeah,
frustrating too when it's a collaboration that's kind of basically centered around a holiday, but you don't get it
Mhm.
till after the
yeah,
holiday. So I wish
Right.
that the
yeah,
brands would give us
yeah,
time to actually
Yeah.
secure the sneakers so we can actually
Yeah.
wear it out for whatever event or
yeah,
purpose it's supposed to be.
Mhm.
Even like the
yeah,
Valentine's Day drop, sometimes you get so excited about it, but you don't get it
yeah,
till after
yeah.
February. So it's kind of like,
Right.
what's the point, right?
Yeah. No, that's true.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. Um,
Action
At least for me,
baklava,
honestly, I'm
really?
not sure. I feel like no one ever asked me that question, so I'm not sure. But I feel like if I don't like a sneaker, a lot of it comes from, okay, maybe I'm just not the target audience, you know? Like, obviously, if I don't like it, I'm sure someone else in the world will like them and will want to spend money
Mm,
on them. But like, I can't, for the life of me, think of one that I'm like, oh no, definitely not. Um, but I think you guys definitely
mm.
brought up some really good ones
Mischief
that I was like, oh yeah,
boots.
you're
Some
right.
people are
I was
putting the mischief boots as number one, and some are saying it's the worst.
like,
What are your thoughts on that?
I
They're
mean,
definitely a hate it or love it, and I think you have to be a
yeah,
certain type of personality and style to wear them. Personally, for me, I would absolutely rock them because I feel like I like something that's a little bit unique and different. But I
yeah.
can also understand why people would hate them. They're not your kind of, I guess, normal shoe, are they?
Right? No, I
Yeah,
agree. I mean, I thought of like Astro Boy right away when I saw them, and
I
I was
know.
like, "Wow, this is so cute and it's fun." I would love to wear them just to try them on, but I just feel like it's not obviously
Yeah.
practical to wear on a daily
Yeah.
basis
Mm.
necessarily. If I did have them, it would probably be more of like a display piece to have in my home and just be like, "Oh yeah, I have them," as more of like a collectible piece versus an actual like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna
Piece to
catch me
wear.
wearing these." I'll buy for
Yeah.
sure.
Well, I
Yeah.
actually, a girl was competing in the anime costume competition this year,
Oh,
and
nice.
her
Uh-huh.
costume she incorporated. Well, they weren't the real ones; they were the knockoffs. I think she got
Oh,
them on
yeah, uh-huh.
Amazon or something, but they look legit. So it was like, girl, who cares?
Yeah,
Like,
that's like
rock
Yeah.
them. Yeah, but she actually
yeah.
she won the competition. She made like this knitted
Oh wow.
yarn
Uh-huh.
costume. It was sick with these red
Yeah.
boots. I'm trying to think of the
Mhm.
character. It's called like Tagly. It was a Pokemon character,
Oh,
and it
okay, okay.
Tagly something, but she like
Mhm.
killed it with the mischief boots, and apparently the character actually kind of was wearing the mischief boots anyways, which I didn't even know.
Yeah.
So I'm like, did mischief get the idea from this character, or
Right,
what?
yeah.
But yeah, the mischief boots I feel like as well.
Mhm,
It's just that
mhm.
brand is so good at doing like these crazy concepts. I mean, they
Yeah.
even made me go buy a freaking bag at this pizza shop. They released a like leather. It was kind of like
Mhm.
a crossbody bag. I may need to bring it out,
Yeah.
but it was
Mhm.
like a pun on Italian leather or something. It was
Oh,
so
I
funny.
see.
But
Okay.
you could
Yeah.
only get it at this specific pizza shop. And I'm so glad I went because it's apparently like one of the number one pizza places in all of New York. And I had no clue about it. So
Oh,
I met the owner and like
Wow.
chilled with him for some time. And he
very
told me about
cool.
how he was
Yeah.
good friends with the Mischief
Yeah.
team. And they
Yeah.
just decided to do like
Mhm.
this collab with him on
Yeah.
that boot. But
Mhm.
actually, speaking of that boot, I guess I didn't bring this up. This probably could have made my top 10 list, but it was the Crocs cowboy boots.
Yes,
How
I know you
cool
Yes.
brought
were
them.
those?
Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't even like thinking about this, but
Mhm.
I just think it's so crazy because I never would have thought that you could make
Yeah.
like a Crocs anything out of
Right.
a boot like
Mhm.
that. But
Yeah.
with the stirrups and everything and the gibbets, it was just like so quirky, different, and unique. So
Yeah.
I think like right
Mhm.
now I'm in this zone of being
Mhm.
oversaturated with
Yeah.
product that I need something now that really just like stuns me.
Yeah,
I
it
think it's
catches
gonna
your
be
eye
my
like, "Oh
Yeah.
my
Coachella.
gosh,
Yeah,
they
like
actually thought of releasing this." Yeah.
oh yeah. Let
No,
me
exactly.
for those of you who haven't seen it, I'm gonna bring it
They're
out.
they're
But
They are
quite prepared,
crazy.
I will say.
right, they're just so fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, this definitely probably a
Mhm.
runner up for me just because I think Crocs
Yeah.
did their thing with this.
Mhm.
But everyone, we have been with you for a few hours now. My goodness, time
I
has flown. So
know.
if you have any questions while Olivia and
Mhm.
Mons are on, ask away. I hope that you all enjoyed our top 10 picks, though, for 2023. I know it was kind of
Yeah.
hard for us probably to just even narrow that list down because, again, I have literally unboxed 365 sneakers this year. And I just, yeah, it's hard to kind of actually remember all 365.
Mhm.
If I had to go back and like tell you each individual
Right.
sneaker I've done, that would be almost near impossible without a list. But if you have any questions for the three of
Mhm.
us right now, feel free to ask away. But definitely thank you, everyone who
Mhm.
has joined us for our top
Yeah.
10 picks. This was such a fun little interaction. And of course, Olivia, I know this is your first time joining Mons and I, but it was such a pleasure having you and your different perspective on, what's going on in England, because I haven't been, to London actually in years. I used to go every year, but it's been a minute, but it's always
Oh,
refreshing to see the style
you
out
need to come
there.
back.
Yeah, and
Thank you guys
hopefully
so much for having me. It's been so much fun.
Of course. Yeah. No,
definitely
thanks so much for joining
let
us.
everybody know both of your socials as well.
Mhm.
If you're not following both Olivia and Mons already, please go and check
Yeah.
them out. We've got their names underneath. They both have YouTube channels.
Mhm.
Somebody's
Yes.
asking you
Yes.
specifically, Mons, about the white
Oh,
cement threes.
do I think of the white cement threes? I mean, I love a good OG color. I mean, I have the reimagined ones that came out earlier this year. I just, as much as I love them, I just, at least for me, it didn't really break way into my top 10 sneaker list. It didn't blow me away
Mm-hmm.
necessarily. Though, like I said, though I love them, it was just, it was like, okay, cool. I have them. Now moving on, to the next pair. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that did make, I think, Complex's top
Yeah.
10,
Hmm.
Yeah.
100%.
Hmm. Right.
Again, I think just a different perspective. I
Right.
think between the threes, I think we probably all agreed that the J Balvin's
Yeah.
probably, were a little bit higher on our list. But
If
if
I had to
you
choose,
are
yes. Right.
exactly like
Hmm.
if you had to choose, I think it was very simplified, and I think we've
Yeah.
seen the reimagines done very well on the Air Jordan
Mhm.
1.
Yeah.
So it's
Hmm.
kind of almost very difficult to compare the two.
It is, yeah, because they're different
Yeah.
enough where I'm just like, okay, I know for a fact that I didn't have to think about it necessarily. Like if you put those two sneakers in front of me, excuse me, I knew which one I would have picked. So like if you love them, great, because they are a great shoe and they are like such a nice one to have. I think a great piece. I didn't have any of the, like OG ones or anything. So the fact that I was able to get the reimagined, I was very happy to have them. So yeah, if you have them and you love them and it's like your sneaker of the year or part of your list, that's great because yeah, they deserve love too.
Yeah, I think they're doing a solid job with the concept of the reimagines. I
So
really
yeah.
like how they're
Mhm.
bringing back OG colorways
Mhm.
into the mix, especially for those who didn't
Yeah.
have the opportunity back in the day to cop a pair of those
Right.
colors.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, it was a very simple, looking
Mhm.
three. It wasn't something that was
Mhm.
like, oh my gosh, this grabs my attention. If you had 10
Right.
sneakers on a
Yeah.
shelf, is that something that you're like going after? And the three
Yeah.
silhouette as well, you have to really
Mhm.
love, I feel like, the Jordan
Yeah.
3. And I know there's
Yes.
some diehards out there
Yeah.
where, your
Yeah.
sneaker collection
Hmm.
may
Hmm.
predominantly have threes in it. And
Yeah.
for those of you who got the opportunity to snag a pair, congrats. I mean,
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
definitely have
Exactly.
them laying around here somewhere, but again, hasn't really been that sneaker that I've been grabbing for.
Right. Hmm. Yeah, exactly.
What about you,
But thanks
Olivia?
for
What do you think
asking.
about that?
Yeah, do you know what? I saw them in so many people's top tens, and for
Mhm.
me, it's just yeah. If you put it next to the Balvin, I would always hands down pick the Balvin. I think it's a
Yeah.
really clean shoe, but
Yeah.
yeah, personally for me, it's just not something I would reach out for. I feel like I'd buy
Right.
it and it'd probably just sit. It would just
Mhm.
sit
Just one
kind of on my
pair.
shelves.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you can't not like it. The colorway is so clean, and then bringing it
Yeah.
back is
Right.
absolutely amazing.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah.
can understand why it's in some people's top tens, but yeah,
Yeah.
for me personally, I prefer the little bit of color that the J
Yeah.
Balvins have.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're gonna have, your OG Jordan heads out there
Yeah.
who are
Mhm.
diehards with
Yeah,
Mhm.
specific color
yeah,
schemes. And I know that the
exactly.
J Balvin probably is like, oh no, like I can't wear
Like,
that because
okay.
it's not
Right.
an OG colorway. It's a brand new
Mhm.
concept. And
Mhm.
so I think for this is an easy cop for most people who
Mhm.
typically are completionists and they have to have, those OG colorways, or maybe it's something that they just want to jump into for the first time. But again, it's a simple tone. There's nothing,
Yeah.
crazy about this.
Mm,
Right. Mhm. Yeah. And I mean,
yeah,
obviously, I can understand why a lot of people would like them too, because they are wearable. Like you can
I'm just going to
certainly
hold it up
choose
next to each
any
other.
type of outfit, we'll go with it, and go on with your day. So, I mean, yeah, I get it. Like it's a beautiful shoe.
Hmm.
But I mean, yeah,
And these are just,
what stands out
they're so
more? Right?
different.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
So different when you
So,
have them side by side. I'm like, I guess I haven't had them
exactly.
side by
Right.
side
Yeah. Like
before,
there's
but
it's like two different personalities, if you will.
Weird, right? How crazy
Yeah,
different it is. Same silhouette, but it's like, is this is like two different people.
different
Right,
shoe.
exactly.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, great
No, for sure.
question, everyone. Again, be sure to follow both of these amazing
Mhm.
women. In 2024, we're hoping to do, some more of these podcasts. This is all about
Yeah.
amplifying other
Mhm.
women in this space.
Mhm.
There's so few of us, so we really thank you all for your continued support in
Mhm.
2023, and I can't wait to see what we're up to in 2024. It's so crazy that we just have a few days left, but I'm wishing you all the
Mhm.
best in this new year to come. And again, I hope that all of you had the most amazing holiday. Both Mons and Olivia have their screen names underneath. So if you want to go and hit that subscribe button, they are upcoming women in the YouTube space. And I love to see both of your growth that's happening. It's really exciting to see, when you both started and how far you've come. Again, for those of you who don't know how difficult it is in the YouTube space, it is very time consuming and very hard to put these videos together and to, of
Mhm.
course, stay consistent. It's a little bit
Mhm.
easier on other platforms when you're just posting, still images and quick little videos. But I've
Mhm.
seen these two women grinding and really just stylistically in their own lane, doing their own thing and really choosing pairs of sneakers that are not your typical pairs that everybody's going to review and unbox and also
Yeah.
style. So kudos to
Mhm.
both of you for really just hitting the ground running and killing it, in the YouTube space. And I can't wait to see where the two of you are in 2024.
No, thank you so much. Yeah, and thank you
Thank you
both
so
for also being
much.
such a big inspiration in the community, not only for women, but for everyone that's, wanting to be a part of the community. So thank you both, and definitely looking forward to the big things that the both of you will be doing in 2024. So,
Yes.
yay,
And
go
again,
us.
huge shout out Olivia for making this work. I know we're all three on different time zones. Somebody was like, throw somebody from Asia. I'm like, you know what time it is in Asia right now?
I know. Oh my gosh, that would have been crazy.
Completely different on the other side of the world. 12 hours basically,
Yeah,
in front of us. No big deal. Yeah, they just won't sleep. Maybe they can pull an all-nighter or something like
I know,
that.
right? I know.
But again, thanks again everybody for tuning in. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to my channel, and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy these live podcast videos. We enjoy doing them, and Mons and I will be back in 2024 talking
Yeah.
about some more heat to come. Take care,
Yes.
everyone. We will see you all on the next one.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.